The fourth barrier to success that we are about to reel out to you is what we have termed the WMD, called fear. WMD is an acronym for weapon of mass destruction. Yes, indeed, that's what fear really is. Scientifically, the Earth is estimated to be about 4.5 billion years old based on statistics from radiometric age dating of meteorite materials. However, according to some theological estimations which have not been substantiated, the Earth is about 6,000 years old. Nevertheless, the implication is that fear is approximately as old as the Earth itself. Of course, there are several other barriers to success that are as old as fear. For instance, barriers like wickedness, doubt, worry, guilt, anger, pain, sorrow, discouragement, low self-esteem, ignorance and deception. These are all devious and awful barriers to success. Fear is one of the pernicious barriers to success. Fear and ignorance walk hand in hand. The fear of death and failure are the greatest fears of all. Perverted fear, such as the fear of the unknown, the fear of rejection, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of failure, the fear of indebtedness, and the fear of death are toxic to the human mind. Countless people fail because of fear. It has caused many people to terminate their lives, which is one of the major causes of premature death the world over. Fear is everywhere. From little children to the great head, fear torments. It paralyzes and confuses people. It has driven many people to become addicts to alcohol and drugs. Many people fear old age. There are folks who are traumatized to travel in an airplane. Some fear heights, while many are afraid to drive a car or even to enter a crowded room. Some folks fear that they may not live to see the next day. Many women fear that someday their most cherished skin would wrinkle or that they may become victims of sexual assault. Some men fear that their wives or daughters may become victims of sexual abuse. Some married couples fear the possibility of divorce. Children fear that their parents may end up separated. Singles fear they may not even find the right spouses to marry. Some parents fear that their children may hook up with the wrong friends and may become a thorn in their flesh. In some parts of the world, the fear of terrorists and bandits has become their albatross. So it is clear that fear is human. Perverted fear is a powerful negative energy that hinders success. Death is the perversion of life. Wickedness, the perversion of love. And fear, the perversion of hope. Perverted fear has become so natural that we do not even realize it is a tormenting energy that subtly ravages many lives. You know, it is impossible for darkness and light to cohabit in the same arena. Likewise, it is impossible for fear and hope to cohabit in the same mental atmosphere at the same time. Fear gives birth to superstition, sickness, and disease, but hope can produce healing and peace in the midst of difficult circumstances. Most people who are sick are afraid to lose their lives. There are many adults who are afraid to sleep in a dark room alone. Fear can produce failure in all ramifications and can also lead to bondage. Perverted fear is a dreadful oppressor. Therefore, you must resist fear with every energy of hope. When you act in fear, you bring harm to yourself. Fear is negative imagination that should be cast out immediately. Some say that fear is natural, but that is absolutely untrue. It is hope that is natural. Negative fear is a travesty and a counterfeit of hope. The human mind is the battleground. Therefore, guard your mind with all diligence. Feed your mind with words of hope and keep perverted fear out of the arena of your mind. Perverted fear is like little foxes that spoil the vine. You have got to recognize the enemies of success and understand their modus operandi. When you do not know what your enemy is capable of, it inadvertently smacks of self-destruction by infiltrating the camp of your adversaries unprepared. It is expedient to know your enemies as much as possible. Fear is a subtle and merciless enemy. We must unmask its strategies. Friends, have you been suffering from oppression in your relationships, health, finances, or at your job? Is it oppression from disappointments, sickness, fear, or failure at the border of success? The fear of poverty, financial burdens, and scarcity has compelled many people to seek wealth and protection through devious means. Fear can wipe out countless people. It is a destroyer that always transmits negative energy. One common acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. But this is, however, not entirely correct, because what one fears may be a real impending danger that may not be false evidence after all. Another acronym for fear is forget everything and run. That makes more sense. So how then do we overcome this barrier to success? We can overcome the barrier called fear by keeping hope alive through determination. Hope is faith, and faith is the remedy for fear. Courage, hope, and determination can overcome this barrier called fear. Fear has torments. It destabilizes and shreds human emotions apart, ripping a human body immune system to bits. But you can use fear to your advantage, because the flip side of fear is caution. Don't be afraid of fear, even though it is coated with torments. Resist fear with courage, hope, and determination. It is better to try to do something and fail at it than not to try at all because of the fear of failure. The experiences you garner in life are invaluable assets that could boost future endeavors if you do not give up too quickly. Always remember that perverted fear is a traitor and a consuming monster. Although it comes with the power to limit one's potentials, it also serves as a red flag to caution anyone. Whenever you fall, do not be afraid to rise again. Every human being falls at one point or another. It is not a shameful thing to fall, but it is an unfortunate thing for one to fail to rise whenever one falls. Whenever fear captures your emotions, it is a signal that trouble is around the corner. So, be courageous. Do not be afraid. The fear of the unknown has sent many people to their early graves. Leave your past failures behind. Grab the lessons learned as you need the experience in life's precarious voyage. Fear is a tormenting force with a mission to destroy its victims. Whenever your fear is greater than your faith, then you must realize that the enemy of your destiny has infiltrated your life to destroy it. Therefore, you must resist fear with desperate enthusiasm. The fourth barrier to success is what we refer to as the ancient chain called poverty. A 10-year-old boy in Gabon once said that when he leaves for school in the mornings, there is hardly any breakfast for him to eat. At noontime, there is hardly any lunch for him, and in the evenings, he only gets a little supper, which is hardly ever enough. So when he sees another child eating during the day, he just sits to watch that child, and if the child eating doesn't give him anything to eat, it feels like he will collapse. Unfortunately, many privileged children do not appreciate what they have. In many homes, food is wasted heedlessly. This is highly regrettable indeed. Many people suffer grievously from the scourge of poverty, a very vital instrument of failure. Similarly, a lady once recounted how feeding herself and her little son was almost impossible, year in, year out. She averred that even when she managed to get any little food to eat, which was always far from anything nutritious, it was always heart-rending and difficult for her to decide who would eat such a meal, she or her little son. Poverty is an ancient chain that incapacitates countless people and frustrates success from coming their way. It is a stronghold of despair that aims at keeping many people from fulfilling their dreams and happiness. It is a subtle but effective instrument of misery that controls people's finances and plunges them into perpetual lack of ideas, money, and material possessions. It is the extreme opposite of wealth and happiness. There are different levels of poverty. Some are really extreme and bad. Such a state is called penury. A state of destitution is when an individual or group lack basic needs such as food, shelter, clothing, healthcare, education, and so on. Statistics indicate that there are over 2 billion people presently living in chronic poverty as they live on less than $1 a day. The worst form of poverty is a lack of ideas, hope, courage, and determination. Many people were born into poverty. They live all their lives in absolute penury and languish in abject hardship. Poverty is a devourer of human dignity. It promotes crime. It rips the human heart with excruciating emotional pain. It is a state of not having ideas, shelter, food to eat, clothes to wear, as well as the inability to access basic health care. It often entails very poor sanitation. Poverty is equivalent to powerlessness. It is a plague on humanity. It is one weapon that the mercenaries of failure and misery apply to plague the human race, as it more often than not lures people into crime. When someone is poor, he or she would most likely be full of hate or envy for others who are well off. It is estimated that over 50,000 people, mostly women and children, perish daily the world over as a direct result of poverty. Poverty is a dreadful barrier to success. It can come in any form. It can come in the form of lack, delay, loss, and financial debt. It is a humiliating phenomenon. It reinforces helplessness. The voice of the poor is hardly heard. Many people suffer severely from the scourge of poverty, such as the lack of basic needs like food, water, shelter, clothing, and health care. The worst aspect of poverty are hunger and sickness. Poverty is a destroyer, as it can wreck the soul and the body of any human being. It nurtures depression and fear. Do you know how frightening and frustrating it is to look into the eyes of your child or children and see stark hunger staring back at you? Do you also know why many women abandon their newborn babies on the streets, in bushes, in dumpsters, in pit holes, or even give them up for adoption? It is essentially because of poverty. The fear of their inability to fend for such children compel them to abandon their children. Lots of women even sell their babies because of the fun of poverty. Friends, poverty is terrible, as it is the citadel of wretchedness. It breeds inferiority complex. It exposes its victims to ridicule. Many families lose their loved ones due to health-related challenges because of the lack of resources and medical care. While some poverty conditions are generational, others are self-inflicted. Poverty has landed many people in jail and goaded many others to do things that they would not ordinarily do, such as prostitution, robbery, hard drugs, kidnapping, assassinations, and so on. Poverty is a tragedy. It is inveterate evidence of financial leprosy. Sometimes it is also evidence of laziness, low self-esteem, drought of integrity, poor planning, bad habits, or foolishness. It is a form of oppression and evidence of deception. It causes hatred, selfishness, greed, division, and depression. The antidote for poverty is success. You see, anyone can overcome poverty through knowledge, courage, and determination. Be prudent in your spending. Many people spend money extravagantly and frivolously just to show off, while there are lots of families languishing in hunger all around them. A few years ago, a young billionaire was buried with lots of money and champagne. What was all that inanity about? Why not help the poor, the sick, orphans, and the like, in memory of the deceased? If there was so much money to fritter away, do not be possessed by your material possessions. Have perfect hatred for lack, debts, losses, and poverty. Some people go clubbing, where they spend huge sums of money on drinks, and sometimes they run into debts. That's absolutely absurd. Learn to invest and to save money regularly for a rainy day. Also, learn to prioritize and be financially disciplined. Strive to live a balanced life, not a life of silly competition or procrastination. Endeavor to invest time wisely. Develop the habit of giving to the needy. Always work with a financial plan or budget. Build several streams of income as much as possible, and look for ways to partner effectively with disciplined and upright people. Whatever adverse financial situation you may be going through right now, do not focus on it. Beware of every get-rich-quick scheme. They negate the law of productivity, the law of increase, the ancient law of sowing and reaping. Beware of falling into the trap of debt, for it is an implacable yoke orchestrated to cage many people in bondage and frustrate success. Not a few have terminated their lives as a result of being in debt. It is a deadly plague that you must avoid by all means. Break the backbone of poverty and debt through your determination, effective planning, and by helping those in need. Hoarding and stinginess can thrust anyone further into financial bondage and sorrow. Do not open the doors of your life to the dreadful bandits of poverty through laziness, debts, miserliness, envy, resentment, slander, and stupidity. Poverty is a state of captivity and misery. Always remember the poor and the needy. Do something to help the poor around you. Strive to help the needy, because we are mere stewards in the vineyard of the universe. An old proverb says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." This is going to be an exhilarating 5-part series on the barriers to success. The first barrier to success is what we hear referred to as a virus called wickedness. The word virus in the Latin language means poison or toxin. A virus can be defined as a viral infection, a parasitic and vicious bug that has the ability to rapidly reproduce. It can also be defined as a malicious kind of germ. Viruses always possess potent, contagious organisms that can lead to death. The human body system, for instance, produces unique antibodies that fight and arrest viruses. Therefore, it is important to always strive to boost the human immune system. Interestingly, there are some kinds of viruses that overpower the human immune system and could lead to death, such as the corona and Ebola viruses. Wickedness is akin to the virus that weakens the moral immune system and often invokes the dying process. One sure way to boost the immunity of our conscience is to upgrade our minds with moral vitamins. For the human body system, some infections may require mere antibiotics, while some others may require vaccinations or antiviral medications for treatment. Love is the vaccine and the antidote for that virus called wickedness, and it is a free gift to all. You see, wickedness has become second nature to human beings, but countless people do not even realize that it is a virus that injects venom into people's lives. Wickedness is like cancer that eats up a person slowly but steadily until it becomes malignant, and then death shows up. Some acts of wickedness are visible, like murder, kidnapping, robbery, terrorism, and diverse sexual misfeasance, such as rape. However, some are not visible. For example, deception, greed, malice, slander, jealousy, hatred, and so on. Many people justify their acts of wickedness even with religious innuendos. For instance, a man condescends to rape an 11-year-old girl but blames his actions on the influence of the devil. Meanwhile, it was he who wittingly bequeathed his mind to the so-called devil to plant treacherous seeds therein. Hatred is like fertile soil where seeds of wickedness are planted and germinate to produce misfortune and death. It all begins with a thought or an abhorrent desire. While the mind can be applied to create great things, it can also be harnessed to produce evil. A woman had been married for 16 years, but she had no child. The couple had tried every means possible to have a child, including the in vitro fertilization process, that is, the IVF process, wherein an egg is fertilized by sperm outside the human body. It is a major treatment for infertility when all other procedures of aided reproductive technology fails. Desperate to have a child by all means, the lady in due course subtly seduced one of her male colleagues at her workplace and lured him to have intercourse with her so she could conceive and make it appear that her husband was responsible for her pregnancy. Well, she did conceive, but eventually discovered that she had been infected by the HIV virus. Strangely, her male colleague claimed he was oblivious that he was infected with the HIV virus. Countless married women get pregnant outside the womb of their marriages and pretend that their husbands are responsible for their pregnancies. Thus, they produce children that were or are not biologically fathered by their husbands. Whenever one seduces such acts of wickedness, one inadvertently woos the dying process. A very sad incident occurred in April 2007 when a 23-year-old Korean named Seung-Hyu Cho, described as a weird and moody loner and noted for his seldom speaking or smiling, became the mastermind of one of the worst campus massacres to take place in the United States of America, when he used 2 handguns to murder 32 innocent, bright and promising undergraduates and professors at the Virginia Tech University, a community of about 25,000 people at that time. The mass murder was ruthlessly executed by that psychopath, an apparent deranged brute. Unfortunately, such atrocities have not and will not end. Indeed, the heart of man is deceitful, wicked, and above all things beyond cure. This wicked act decapitated the destinies of all the said victims. Similarly, an 11-year-old boy was publicly mobbed and burned alive in Lagos, Nigeria on the 16th day of October in the year 2005. That act of horror was captured on video camera and aired on the renowned television news network. Lots of people who watched the gruesome act perpetrated by sadistic and lawless agents of wickedness were utterly outraged. Good gracious, an 11-year-old child. The little boy was accused of attempting to steal a baby, an allegation he passionately denied in spite of the inhumane and brutal assault on him. He was beaten mercilessly by about a dozen irate mob of men and boys. He was stoned and struck with sticks in broad daylight in an attack that lasted for about 20 minutes. And at the end, a used car tire was placed over this little boy's head and he was doused with gasoline and set ablaze. That teenage boy burned and roasted like an animal. He's gone forever. His destiny and potentials were decapitated and terminated by depraved minds. Wickedness is a snare that must be treated the way coronavirus is treated, as it is on a mission to hinder success and destroy many lives. The second barrier to success is what we refer to as a two-edged sword called ignorance and deception. Now, in your honest opinion, what do you think would compel a man who confessed overtly to having regular sexual intercourse with his own mother in an atrocious and fiendish bid to become rich, when a man is directed to have sexual intercourse with a mentally unstable woman in a graveyard at midnight? What do you deduce from such weird exercises? Everything's are happening on a daily basis all over the world. Sexual perversions are some of the new age warheads of ignorance and deception. Also, gender confusion is currently ravaging humanity like a plague. What will instigate a woman to fall in love with her biological brother and have constant sexual intercourse with him, insisting that they are incest sexual? What will compel a woman to marry her own son and live together with him as husband and wife, insisting that it is their right to do so? What could have made an Australian woman to have regular sexual intercourse with 3 of her teenage sons at the same time and post the video recordings on a pedophile website? Simple. Ignorance and deception. Two sides of the same coin. Venom that contaminates the human mind. Indeed, not a few are prisoners in the penitentiary of ignorance and deception. Gays, for instance, think that straights are ignorant about reality, but straights also think that gays are ignorant about reality. That is the game of ignorance and deception. They are seeds of misery, often planted in the soil of the human mind to plunder many lives and frustrate success. In ancient times, weapons of war were well-honed instruments of death. The Spartan and Roman armies were some of the most powerful and dreadful armies on earth, with deadly weapons like swords, spears, shields, axes, daggers, bows and arrows. Similarly, in the army of failure and misery, ignorance and deception are deadly weapons of mass destruction. In the hands of hardened ancient warriors, the shield serves both as a weapon of offense and defense. Likewise, in the army of failure and misery, ignorance and deception serve as a weapon of offense and defense. The ancient weapon of ignorance and deception are subtle, vicious instruments with cutting-edge capabilities that can rip through any heart. Weapons make a lot of difference in the battlefield. Ignorance and deception are some of the most skillfully crafted barriers to success stockpiled in the armory of failure and misery. They are terrible weapons in the hands of criminal elements and depraved people. They exacerbate intolerance, wickedness, terrorism, and all other vices. From generation to generation, ignorance and deception have caused countless wars for power and territories. They are like a veil that covers one side. It is sometimes very difficult to convince someone who is gullibly ignorant. Ignorance and deception are very costly. They breed fear and give birth to evil works. They are like misguided missiles and one of the real enemies of humanity. They hinder progress and lead to backwardness and underdevelopment. Very often, ignorance and deception give birth to stupidity, fear and failure. Knowledge is the unearthing of past ignorance and deception. Knowledge is power, but so are ignorance and deception. Even envy and acrimony are fruits of ignorance and deception. The only way to overcome this two-edged deadly sword called ignorance and deception is to seek and harness knowledge, because knowledge and truth are the antidote for ignorance and deception. Once these vices are overcome through knowledge, success would appear. Barriers to Success Part 3. The fifth barrier to success is what we refer to as the arrow of depression. It is a cruel and monstrous predator. It is a plunderer that torments many lives indiscriminately. We shall therefore unmask its strategies and adverse impact. Friends, has life become a bitter pill for you? Do you wake up in the mornings to a surge of sorrow piercing deeply through your hearts? Have you ever been so sad to the extent that you felt like giving up or terminating your journey of life? Never allow depression to amputate your destiny. Life is relatively short, but it can be beautiful and you can enjoy life again. It is true that depression is a devourer of one's peace, as it can pilfer the joy, peace, strength, health, and life of every human being. It is a gruesome force of negative energy on a merciless mission to destroy humanity. It is no respecter of persons. It does not discriminate between the rich and the poor, male or female, young or old. It torments even very young people with seemingly little or no obligations to worry about. It also torments adults. Depression is an emotional state of mind, usually a serious mood disorder caused by profound grief, sadness, frustration, and a sense of hopelessness over a period of time, which affects people's disposition and impedes their ability to enjoy everyday life. It leads to loss of energy, as it weakens the human immune system and causes physical decline. It is a state of mental or psychological disorder of a person or people. There are numerous causes of depression which invariably affects the human nervous system and constitutes a health hazard. For example, physical or mental stress, trauma caused by death of loved ones, business turbulence, financial debts, distress in relationships, financial lack, obesity, joblessness, barrenness, miscarriages, hopelessness, fear of the unknown, misfortune, sickness, anxiety, conflict, anticipation of danger, and so on. Strangely, some people get extremely depressed even when they achieve their desired goals, such as getting a new job, promotion at work, when they newly get married, or when they have a child or children. That shouldn't surprise you at all. Haven't you heard of multimillionaires who, metaphorically speaking, have the world at their feet but take their own lives? Haven't you also heard of billionaires who live miserably and end up divorcing their spouses? In July 2006, a 55-year-old successful Emmy Award-winning actor committed suicide in his home in the United States of America through gunshot to his head. Depression is a dreadful force of negative energy that must be overcome in order for anyone to succeed in life. Scores of people are not living to their full potentials, and countless others have terminated their own lives as a result of depression, which is an advanced stage of discouragement and sorrow. Loneliness and fear are invitation to this malicious intruder and destroyer called depression. Low self-esteem, pessimism, and the use of hard drugs, among others, can set off this plunderer. Depression is dangerous, but it is evidence of ignorance. Many people live perpetually in an extreme state of depression. Mild or severe, depression is a silent and ruthless murder, a callous looter, and a dangerous weapon in the hands of the enemy of success. It is a brutal terrorist and a dreadful destructive force that is not limited by geographical boundaries or immigration officers. All across the world, this destroyer thrives. It is a shrewd and deceptive enemy that sways many people to believe that life has no meaning. It instigates people to give up. It spews out deadly venom of helplessness and hopelessness. Many people undergo diverse kinds of therapy through tranquilizing pills, as well as psychotherapy for the treatment of depression. Why suffer unduly from the toxins of depression, which manifest through sickness, insomnia, loss of appetite, unhappiness, loss of weight, violent tendencies, rage, frustration, hallucination, irritability, uncertainty, apprehension, miscarriages, suicide tendencies, deep emotional pain, and so forth? Life is not meaningless. Depression is not part of human nature. It is a thief. So you must confront this enemy with courage, hope, and determination. A woman who has been married for about 18 years or more but has no biological child after numerous unsuccessful efforts to have a child or children would have every reason to be depressed. People who lost their loved ones prematurely in auto or plane crashes or any other form of sudden demise would have all the reasons to be depressed. A man whose wife was violently raped, viciously stabbed, and her life terminated in his presence by criminal elements has every reason to be depressed. Someone who is currently serving life sentence for murder that he or she never committed also has very good reasons to be depressed and frustrated with life. Have you ever felt so frustrated with life that you hope to sleep and never wake up? Have you ever contemplated terminating your own life because of huge financial debts, humiliation, poverty, loneliness, slander, sickness, and so on? Have you ever felt terribly lonely and abandoned by friends or family? Have you ever given out so much love but got hate and betrayal in return? Have you ever made incredible sacrifices to add value to people's lives but got rewarded with crass ingratitude? Whatever bitter experiences you may have had, be assured that your future is pregnant with great possibilities. Do not lose hope or capitulate in the heat of the storms of life. Now, here are some tips for overcoming depression. Do not give up your effort and determination to succeed. Be gritty and dogged in your resolve to be victorious in life. If you can pray, then pray your way out of the dungeon of depression. It is said that prayer is the key in the hands of faith that can open closed doors. You should also engage in physical exercises regularly. Develop a balanced and sensible eating habit. Moderate your consumption of sugar, caffeine, and alcohol. Guard your mind diligently because your eyes and your ears are doorways to your mind. Learn to relax and have fun. Don't be afraid to have fun. We all need it. Rest and recreation should not be considered as extravagance or waste. A vacation does not necessarily have to be very expensive. Learn to celebrate milestones in your life. King Solomon once said, and I quote, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones." End of quote. You see, joy and happiness enhance healing and general well-being, but unhappiness invokes the dying process. Success is the embodiment of happiness. Happiness is a heartfelt, enduring state of joy. Jokes cannot make you joyful. They can only bring about a fleeting ecstasy and pleasure, but nothing enduring. Countless rich people are unhappy people, and thus may not be referred to as successful people. Unfortunately, many people tend to search for happiness in the wrong places. King Solomon tried it by marrying several hundred wives and flirted with 300 mistresses, but still, all his philandering with multiple women did not bring him happiness. His riches did not bring him happiness either. Hear what King Solomon said: "He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity." End of quotes. You see, King Solomon makes it clear that money does not bring about enduring happiness. This is not to say someone cannot be rich and happy. Gratitude leads to happiness, while ingratitude attracts unhappiness. When you focus more on your problems or on the things that you lack, ingratitude will anchor in your heart. If your body organs are functioning very well, if you are not a victim of criminal gangs or a deadly virus attack, then you have so much to be grateful for. It is important to understand the principle of night and day. Nightfall will always be followed by daybreak. Nighttime is only temporal. Morning will surely come. Set the right goals and priorities for your life. Be focused on patiently achieving your desired goals. Seek appropriate counseling with people who can help you whenever you are depressed. Avoid the abuse of drugs and alcoholic beverages when depression is on the rampage. Do not allow the achievement or failure of others to influence you negatively. There is a due season for every seed that is planted. Whensoever you feel depressed, it is evidence that you have consigned hope to a state of coma. Truth be told, depression is a graduated level of worry, anxiety, emotional anguish. Oftentimes, depression leads to drugs addiction. It pollutes the human mind and offers no solution to life's myriad challenges. Depression is very dangerous and must not be treated with kid gloves. It often entails self-pity and is certainly a condition of hopelessness. Depression must have no place whatsoever in your life or that of your loved ones. Many people have ruined their destinies because they unwittingly took succor in hard drugs. It is like hopping from the frying pan of depression right into the fire of drug addiction, another vicious destroyer. The abuse of drugs can lead to insanity and other health-related perils. They increase crime rates, as many depressed people who abuse drugs sometimes become sadistic rapists, fraudsters, armed robbers, kidnappers, and assassins who derive utmost pleasure in hurting other people. Drugs, like alcohol, can become perilous intoxicants when abused. So, avoid the abuse of drugs and alcoholic spirits that can lead to physical and emotional stimulation, which can impair sound reasoning and exacerbate one's state of despair. The anguish cultivated by adversity inexplicably incarcerates and poisons the human mind. The grisly grip of depression can be overwhelming as it attracts the dying process. Indeed, anyone can be seduced by the frightening and sweltering furnace of depression. It all depends on the circumstances that one encounters. It is a subtle mental jailer and a vicious, mindless predator. Depression sits like burning sulfur. It has led many people to develop stroke and other extreme ailments. It is insidious, compelling, and cruel. It has a voice that only you can hear. It paints a picture of misery and hopelessness. It has led many people to their early graves. You either subdue it or it destroys you. So, you must resist depression, as it is a barrier to success. The sixth barrier to success is what we have termed the fiery darts of infirmity. By infirmity, we are referring to the disability of the human body or a state of poor physical well-being, which is a fiery dart that paralyzes success. Infirmity also refers to moral disability, frailty, and pain. Friends, it is important to state that it is not all infirmities that are paranormal. For instance, someone may be suffering from diarrhea, which undoubtedly causes great discomfort. Diarrhea is often caused by allergies, intolerance of certain foods, infections by bacteria and other organisms. How about bad breath, obesity, tooth decay, or even snoring? Yes, indeed, snoring is a disability, a physical impairment, and a sleep disorder. Also, obesity often stimulates illness, which could lead to cardiac arrest and other health hazards. Similarly, bad breath and tooth decay can cause severe health complications. Gum infections and tooth decay can lead to other serious health impediments such as oral cancer. You see, infirmity hinders people's progress. It is an enemy of humanity that destroys many lives. We must therefore insulate ourselves from the scourge of infirmity by paying more attention to our well-being. There are many darts of infirmity, and some are caused by carelessness or lifestyle. Truly, it is amazing how failure is packaged in several forms of sicknesses and diseases. They are the emissaries of failure and sorrow. Some ailments are caused by people's negligence and carelessness. Whenever someone indulges in consuming junk food with very poor nutritional values, when someone experiences insufficient sleep, or when someone indulges in the habit of overeating or consuming drinks with high sugar or alcoholic contents, such an individual inadvertently invites sicknesses and diseases. When someone suffers from genital herpes or gonorrhea, for instance, that is obviously the result of careless indulgence. Infirmity is the enemy of success, as it is a destructive force that hinders success. Therefore, treat all manners of sickness and disease like the enemy they truly are. Do not be gullibly religious to the extent of refusing to seek medical attention. It is not a sin or lack of faith for anyone to seek medical help. It is certainly not the devil who gave medical doctors and other healthcare workers the knowledge and the skill that they possess to diagnose and dispense medical treatment to people who are sick. Some religious leaders teach their congregates erroneous man-made doctrines. They indoctrinate their members to think that it is against their religious beliefs for them to seek medical interventions. Not a few religious folks have lost their lives as a result of their stroppy belief that being administered blood transfusion intravenously to save their lives was against their doctrine. But alas, when such religious leaders have health setbacks, they secretly take medications. When their children are afflicted in their bodies by appendicitis, asthma attacks, hernia, or pneumonia, for instance, such religious hypocrites rush their children discreetly to hospitals for medical aid. Are you experiencing some health challenges? Have you gone for medical checkup? We have got to be circumspect with our well-being because a lot of sicknesses and diseases are caused by the abnormal way that people live their lives, what they eat, drink, or do. Beware of what you consume, including sodas and alcoholic beverages. Excessive sugar consumption is dangerous. Low or high level sugar in the human body can affect anyone's immune system and erode their ability to overcome sickness and disease. Even honey, which is a safer alternative and natural sweetener, also contains sugar. Do you know that honey can cause tooth decay, which can exacerbate one's health conditions? So, moderation is the key. Scientific researches indicate that the adult human body consists of about 60% water. The adult human brain is composed of about 80% water. The human lungs contain about 83% water, while the human blood, which conveys oxygen to various parts of the human body, consists of about 90% water. The human body requires about 2.4 to 3 liters of water every day. Inadequate water can weaken the human immune system. Therefore, we essentially need to be wellness conscious. We also need to avoid stress because high blood pressure is a silent killer. Do not abuse your bodies with alcohol, tobacco, or hard drugs. Moderate your intake of sugar, fast foods, and alcohol. Check your cholesterol level regularly, as well as your blood pressure. Engage in regular physical exercises. Guard your health with all diligence, because infirmity is a major barrier to success. The seventh barrier to success is what we refer to as a roadblock called delay. A lady was to get married when she was about 25 years old, but suddenly the marriage event was called off. Thereafter, she desired to get married for several years later, but experienced delays. She eventually did not get married until she was 42 years old. That was 17 years after her initial attempt was furtively aborted. She eventually got married to a divorcee who was 19 years older than she was. Fortunately, her first and only child came through the IVF process when she was about 48 years old. Friends and relatives rejoiced with her. Then, when the child was about 4 years old, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. How heartrending that was. How does someone respond to such grievous misfortune? You see, delay is the unanticipated impediment of any activity. It means to hinder, to postpone, to slow down something or an event, to make late. It is an obstacle to success that plagues humanity. It can aptly be referred to as a stronghold of misery. Delay causes disappointments, stagnation, and embarrassment. Oftentimes, people encounter difficult seasons in life that are caused by delay. This roadblock called delay wipes out people's hopes and joy. Delay always collaborates with the forces of disappointments. Every human being suffers from the scourge of delay and disappointment one way or another. Delay frustrates people's dreams and leads to hopelessness. Every human being is susceptible to the anguish caused by delay. It can manifest through sickness, humiliation, disappointment, scarcity, or something else. Thomas Edison, who lived from 1847 to 1931, was one of the most outstanding inventors and business entrepreneurs of all times. One who impacted humanity tremendously, particularly through the reinvention of the long-lasting incandescent light bulb for commercial purposes. It is on record that in the course of all of Edison's inventions, he failed over 10,000 times. He suffered countless delays in his voyage to achieve his goals. Failure appears when people give up hope. One of the keys that successful people apply to achieve their objectives is perseverance. It is the antidote for delay. Edison's ultimate goal was to make electricity very cheap. Here's what he said in one of his riveting citations. "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to try just one more time." End of quote. Soichiro Honda was a Japanese entrepreneur and engineer who lived from 1906 to 1991. It was he who founded the Honda Motor Company, manufacturers of the Honda brand of vehicles and motorcycles known the world over. He suffered grievous delays in his quest to make an impact in the automobile industry. He was once rejected by Toyota Motors when he applied for a job as an engineer. But guess what? He later became the founder of the Honda brand of Japanese automobiles that are sold across many countries around the world. So, never allow temporary delays to deter you from achieving your goals and aspirations. The eighth barrier to success is the blaze of discouragement. Discouragement simply means to take away hope, to empty of courage, to demoralize or to dispirit, to strike at the human emotions, to drain the soul of courage. Its assignment is to hinder people's progress and plunge them into depression or hopelessness, which undoubtedly would usher in failure. Discouragement is a vote of no confidence and hope. It is a universal plague that exerts pressure on people to give up. Have you ever heard the name Alexander Graham Bell? He was a Scottish-born inventor, engineer, and scientist who lived from 1847 to 1922. He is credited with patenting the first practical telephone. Listen to what he once said: "When one door closes, another opens. But we often look so long and so regrettably upon the closed door that we do not see the one which is opened for us." End of quote. Now let us follow the tracks of some other great personalities like Abraham Lincoln and Henry Ford so that we can effectively analyze how they managed and subdued the blaze of discouragement, an enemy of success. Lincoln eventually became President of the United States of America in March 1861 after several attempts. Astonishingly, he was assassinated 4 years after he became president. Lincoln was brought up in a very poor family and thus had negligible formal education. In spite of such setbacks, he was fervently determined to achieve his goals in life. He succeeded in becoming an attorney and a politician, an exceptional one who fought tenaciously to abolish the injustice of slavery. Lincoln suffered many setbacks in life. He once lost his job but did not give up hope. He went into business and suffered grievous losses in 1831. Then he vied for elective position at his state legislature and lost. He was bereaved in 1835 when he lost his beloved fiancée. In 1836, Lincoln suffered severe mental breakdown. Undeterred, he vied again in 1838 for elective position as Speaker of Parliament, but lost. In 1843, he suffered another defeat for nomination into Congress. Nevertheless, Lincoln had an unstoppable attitude. Not discouraged, he fought hard and was nominated into Congress in 1846, but he lost the bid for renomination in 1848. Thereafter, he vied for appointment as land officer but was rejected in 1849. He also lost another election in 1854 when he vied for his seat in the U.S. Senate. But Lincoln wouldn't give up. He never allowed discouragement to derail or hinder him. Again, he went for nomination as vice president on the platform of the Republican Party and lost in 1856. He tried the U.S. Senate again in 1858, but also lost. Finally, in 1860, he was elected the 16th president of the United States of America. What an incredible story. But what if he had given up and got discouraged after several disappointments? Undoubtedly, Abraham Lincoln was an epitome of resilience and focus. It is on record that he is one of the greatest presidents the United States ever had. Let us talk briefly about Henry Ford, who lived from 1863 to 1947. Ford was known the world over as a great industrialist who founded the Ford Motor Company that developed the mass production of affordable cars for middle-class Americans. He was one of the richest people on earth before his demise. His first vehicle was the Ford Quadricycle, which he worked very hard to improve upon. He suffered many frustrating moments in his quest to improve the self-propelled vehicle that he created. Nonetheless, he was determined to achieve his goals. With the support and encouragement of his very good friend Thomas Edison, Henry Ford established the Detroit Automobile Company, which unfortunately did not do well as it became bankrupt and was shut down in 1901. But despite that setback, Ford never gave up. His popular mantra was, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." End of quote. There's no human being who has never failed or suffered setbacks. Henry Ford even went into politics but failed. It is on record that he lost so much money in the course of trying to build an automobile. But today, the fruit of his resilience and success is seen globally. You see, fear attracts discouragement. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of embarrassment, and the fear of criticisms can lead to discouragement. The most reliable antidote for discouragement is perseverance, which has the potential to extinguish discouragement. Friends, be determined never to consider the possibility of defeat or surrender your will to the bandits of discouragement. For instance, when someone always blames you for anything that goes wrong, you could get discouraged. If you have a boss who always complains about you or antagonizes you, that could be very discouraging. Also, if you have a spouse who is scandalously promiscuous or one who is a narcissistic habitual nag, that also could be very discouraging indeed. Someone who loses a loved one in an accident or through sickness can feel very frustrated with life and drained of courage. But we have got to keep pushing towards our goals because life must go on. Determination is a great way to respond to adverse circumstances. Encouragement will give you strength and direction in the battlefield of life. Stay away from people who always bring discouragement your way because it paralyzes success. Dale Carnegie was an American writer and lecturer who was born in 1888 and passed on in 1955. He developed courses in interpersonal skills, public speaking, salesmanship, and corporate training. Here's what he once said: develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. End of quotes. Friends, always remember this. Do not make important decisions when you are in a discouraged mood. Do not allow temporary defeats to bring discouragement your way. Instead, let setbacks inspire you to be determined to succeed. Please know that discouragement and depression are not the same. Discouragement can lead to depression. Discouragement is the absence of courage, an invitation to frustration. It is a time when you feel that you are at your wits' end. Howbeit, depression is a higher dimension than discouragement. It is a profound and protracted state of anguish. Whenever discouragement shows up at the door of your heart, use it to your advantage. What really matters is not how many times that you are discouraged, but how many times that you are able to overcome its blistering blaze. Never allow discouragement to rob you of success. Focus on what you want to achieve. It is not how fast that you go, but how well you are able to finish. Do not terminate the journey of your goals halfway. When discouragement whispers to you to give up, please do well to whisper back to discouragement that you ain't quitting until success appears. There are many obstacles on the path of life. Develop a strong, resilient character because life is a battlefield. Be smart and believe in yourself. Do not be reluctant to try out new strategies as long as your gaze is on your goals. And please, when we say do not give up, that does not imply you should keep doing the wrong things that bring you discouragement, pain, and losses. Certainly not. When you discover that you are heading towards the wrong direction or applying the wrong strategies, by all means, retreat forthwith. However, many people get discouraged and give up just at the brink of achieving success, which is very unfortunate indeed. George Bernard Shaw was a renowned Irish playwright, critic, and political activist in his days. He lived from 1856 to 1950. Here's what he once said: people are always blaming circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get ahead in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, make them. End of quotes. That is very instructive indeed. For anyone to succeed in life, he or she must be determined to confront and overcome setbacks such as discouragement. A popular Japanese proverb says, fall 7 times, stand up 8. End of quote. It implies don't give up until you succeed. Keep pushing towards your goals with determination. Be eager to overcome discouragement through resilience. Your attitude towards the scourge called discouragement matters a lot. Appraise your attitude and identify your strengths and weaknesses because people will always work towards discouraging you. Develop your mental faculty if you desire to succeed. Nurture your mindset. Your personality, which is a reflection of your mind, can make you attractive or repugnant to success. Do not be discouraged by criticisms. Instead, be encouraged by them. Criticisms make us better people. Many people are intolerant of criticisms. Indeed, criticisms are negative feedback which many often take in bad light and consider as insults or ridicule to their capabilities or potentials. But truly, criticisms are ingredients for success. Failing doesn't make anyone a failure. Therefore, failing must not be defined as failure. Do you remember the Wright brothers, the pioneer inventors of controlled and sustained air flights? Do you know what Wilbur Wright told his brother Orville in 1901? He told his brother, if man ever flies, it will not be within our lifetime, but within 1,000 years. End of quote. That was a discouraged Wilbur speaking, but in spite of every setback, the Wright brothers kept pushing towards their goal with determination. And 2 years after this gloomy statement by Wilbur Wright, they engraved their names in the sand of history as one of the pioneer inventors of sustained air flights. When things are going against your plans and goals, refuse to be discouraged. It may not be easy, but for you to overcome discouragement in order to succeed, you must develop a resilient character. The ninth barrier to success is the pain of humiliation. This barrier is destructive because its impediments have led many people to take their own lives. Call it shame or disgrace, ridicule or embarrassment. This is one vicious enemy that paralyzes or neutralizes success. Many people have lost their lives prematurely because of shame and humiliation. While some truly deserve to be humiliated because of their irresponsibilities, others are mere innocent victims. Many times, the brigade of failure and misery lure people to indulge in certain activities that coerces them to find themselves in awkward situations that lead to humiliation and regrets. Someone can suffer humiliation when he or she commits any antisocial or illegal act, such as stealing, drug trafficking, and fraud. Humiliation can demoralize an individual or people. It can distract and agitate anyone. It is the abasement of one's dignity. Not a few have terminated their lives because of humiliation. A few years ago, an uncanny story about a middle-aged man who was caught red-handed having sexual intercourse with a donkey made the rounds in the city of Enugu in Nigeria. He was caught stark naked right in the act, and he confessed to doing the abominable, blaming the devil for his appalling actions. He was then stripped naked, paraded, and humiliated within his community before he was handed over to the police, who arrested him and charged him for raping a donkey. How lamentable indeed. You see, disgrace or humiliation simply means to be out of grace. It means to lose honor, to disfavor, to bring shame, to lose reputation, to discredit, to degrade, to dehumanize, to scandalize, to lose respect, to lose a good name. Many people suffer disgrace or humiliation as a result of their criminal or immoral actions. But unfortunately, some people suffer humiliation even in their innocence. Humiliation can ruin anyone. It is a raging emotional fire and a devourer of human dignity. It devours the confidence and self-esteem of its victims. For instance, when a very influential politician is jailed for massive fraud or money laundering, his family will suffer humiliation. The fear of shame and disgrace torments many lives. Sometimes, setbacks appear in apparels of humiliation and serve as a precursor to people's success. Humiliation can provoke retaliation, revenge, and conflict. Financial difficulties and debts can attract humiliation. For instance, when a man is unable to fulfill his financial obligations to his family, ridicule may inevitably be unleashed upon him. He may then suffer various degrees of humiliation from his spouse, families, and friends. Such situations have strangulated peace in several homes and decomposed or led to the breakup of several marriages. If you are currently suffering from such humiliating ordeals, do not despair. Just keep pushing the vehicle of your determination towards the gate of your goals. A wife will be terribly humiliated when she discovers she is the last person to know that her husband has been having sexual intercourse with their maid or even with her biological sister. A mother will feel absolutely humiliated when she discovers that her teenage daughter got pregnant for her steward. Likewise, a husband will feel very humiliated and betrayed when he discovers that one or more of his supposed children are not actually biologically fathered by him, but by his pastor, or his best friend, or colleague, or even his staff. Yes, indeed, these things are happening on a daily basis the world over. Now here's a true story that may astound you. A 19-year-old boy who was a trainee welder in a city called Akure in Ondo State, Nigeria, was in the month of October 2014 caught having sexual intercourse with a live chicken. Yes, you heard right. It was also reported that the boy had previously been caught having sexual intercourse with a goat. He was thereafter banished from his community after the humiliating and boorish scandal. There is a common phraseology that says, prevention is better than cure. So we have got to avoid all manners of humiliating situations by all means, as they are capable of asphyxiating success. Upgrade the software of your mind, because when you are vulnerable, you can't be humiliated. Many people feel humiliated when they are stabbed in the back by close relatives, friends, or foes. But always remember, integrity is the antidote for humiliation. William Shakespeare was an English playwright, poet, actor, and one of the greatest writers and dramatists of the English language. He lived from 1582 to 1616. He is the author of the renowned classical books Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Macbeth, and several others. Here's what he once said: "He is the most wretched of men who has never felt adversity." End of quote. The impact of humiliation can be absolutely shattering and withering. Friends, strive to invest in good relationships, but plan for the day of adversity, because it will surely come if you aspire for greatness. Guard your mind tenaciously. Humiliation can shatter the mind like a bunker buster. Confront obstacles like humiliation by being focused on your goals and doing what is right. You may encounter betrayals and slander from families and friends. Be prepared for such experiences, because there is always a price to pay for success. The 10th barrier to success is what we refer to as the sting of premature death. Artilleries of adversity such as wickedness, fear, ignorance and deception, poverty, depression, discouragement, sickness, delay, humiliation, and premature death are all obstacles to success. In August 2012, a sad story made the rounds in major newspapers and journals in Nigeria. A young, energetic lady who was in her 20s and only daughter of her parents was hacked down in a hotel room by friends that she had met on Facebook. It was alleged that she operated a boutique in her school. Thus, her so-called Facebook friends, two subtle but vicious young men, allegedly lured her to Lagos after promising to give her items for her boutique at highly discounted prices. They scheduled to meet with her in a hotel in Lagos. The meeting held unfortunately, and from the confessions of the rogues as well as police reports, those predators sedated her with a tranquilizer that knocked her out, and thereafter one thing led to another and she was strangled. Such a young, bright and shining star was mauled down and plunged into the dark ocean of eternity with such great and heart-rending splash. That is what we refer to as the sting of premature death, a barrier to success. A 30-year-old lady in Montreal, Canada, got married in June 2012. 3 months after her wedding, she decided to take more lovely photographs of herself in her wedding gown. And so she and her photographer chose a shallow spot at a riverside. However, from the Montreal police accounts, water seeped into her wedding gown, which eventually made the dress very heavy. As a result, she slipped from the rocks where she stood and was carried away by the river. The photographer was reported to have made frantic effort to save her life, but to no avail. Police officers who were at the scene quickly rushed into the river to try to save her, but also to no avail. Her corpse was later retrieved from the bottom of the river. The police reported that the scene of the incidents was not a dangerous one, and so it was shocking that these incidents occurred, as there was no strong water current or much water. But alas, she's gone forever, and her life was truncated by that incident. Hope and determination are very powerful weapons against the enemies of success. Be determined to resist all enemies of your success. Attack wickedness with love. Assault fear with hope. Subdue ignorance with knowledge. Strike at deception with truth. Afflict discouragement with courage. And resist humiliation with uprightness. Welcome to part 2 of this exhilarating series on effective communication. Friends, it is important to learn and understand body vernacular, or what is also referred to as non-verbal expressions. Body language is the way the human body reinforces the state of one's mind. It is possible to read body language which resonates the mind. We need to be skilled at it in order to determine the messages that we or others give out. This is different from sign language, which is the application of body language to convey a speaker's message. It entails a combination of hand shapes and movement of the arms and body, including facial expressions, to convey a speaker's thoughts. It is a language used to communicate with people who are physically impaired from hearing or speaking. Do you know that there are over 300 sign languages? Very intriguing indeed. We've got to be careful about interpreting people's attitude through body language because some people are introverts while others are extroverts. Therefore, their respective body languages will differ. While an introvert may be perceived as a snob, an extrovert may also be seen as someone who is wayward. There are people who basically avoid eye contact due to timidity or shyness. The human mind controls the body. Certain body activities can reveal the state of someone's mind. Ever wondered why some people fiddle with their noses during conversations? When a person folds his or her arms during a conversation, is that really a sign of boredom like some people are? Many people are poor readers of body language, but they erroneously think that they are exceptionally good at it. Telling lies is also an uncanny but very common phenomenon during communication. How can you detect when someone is telling lies through body language? That is a tricky part of communication because what one considers a lie may actually be born out of misinformation or ignorance. It is very difficult to decipher when someone is telling lies through his or her body language. However, there are ways to improve one's observation skills by becoming a master of non-verbal communication such as body movement, gaze, facial expressions, eye contact, and hand or leg gestures. Researchers have proven that people who tell lies smile less as they exert a lot of facial energy to authenticate their lies, which a smile may ruin. But some hardcore liars would look at you eyeball to eyeball until you go dizzy. However, more often than not, when people tell lies, they find it very difficult to look straight at the eyes of people they lie to because they exert pressure on the laboratory of their minds where they contaminate the truth. And remember, the human body reflects the inner workings of the mind. Some liars become experts at subduing their body from leakages. We must be very cautious whenever we notice that someone is fidgeting during a conversation, as this is another indication that they may not be telling the truth. You know, it is possible to be fluent in body language. You can develop the art of reading body language so that you can effectively control and have the right results during communication. We are all endowed with an inner alarm system called intuition. Learn to observe people carefully and exercise the power of your perception. You can be a master at interpreting people's minds through their body language. Now let us examine the power of persuasive skills. The art of getting people to do whatever you want and whenever you want it is not magic, but a skill that can be mastered. It is called the power of persuasion. It is one key that opens wide the doors of success. It is a key that all super achievers apply to achieve great successes. The ability to get people to buy your ideas or to agree with you on any matter is an incredible skill indeed. Persuasion is the art of getting people to suspend their skepticism. Campaigning before elections is a season when potential candidates apply various strategies to get people to buy into their ideas and eventually to vote for them. Businesses get patronages as a result of the power of persuasion. Every day, we encounter people at work or at home who we need to convince one way or another so they can agree with our ideas. Effective persuasive skills gives one an incredible advantage on various fronts. The power of persuasion is the process of influencing people's opinion. It is a tool that makes life more meaningful. The need to effectively convince people to understand and buy into your ideas is very vital. This is enhanced by one's ability to decode body language appropriately. You see, the power of persuasion can be positively or negatively applied. Those who join criminal gangs are captives of negative persuasion. We shall analyze the advantages of positive persuasive skills. But you must take note that the ability to persuade effectively does not guarantee 100% success. It only enhances your chances of success. One key factor that separates super achievers from others is the impact of persuasive skills. When you develop persuasive skills, you will reap the benefits in several aspects of your life. Your chances of being successful in different areas of life are enhanced by your persuasive skills. Persuasion is the ability to get people to do things they may never consider doing. No one gets married without the element of persuasion. No one gets a job without the catalyst of persuasion. The ability to persuade is not necessarily predicated upon one's eloquence, but upon the capacity to influence people. The factors that enhance persuasion include character, integrity, and lucidity. For me to be effectively persuaded, the character of an individual or people who attempt to persuade me must be one of integrity, credibility, and rationality. Applying the right words can promote persuasiveness, which entails the ability to stir people's emotions. For effectiveness, persuasion may require referrals, quotes, analogies, and so on. The manner in which you present your ideas or views is absolutely very important. The process of enhancing communication skills in order to win people over requires empathy and sincerity. For persuasion to be effective, you must also learn to understand people's attitude and personality peculiarities. Politicians, business entrepreneurs, students, children, and parents all need persuasive skills. Persuasion is different from manipulation, but unfortunately, many people deprive their minds of good nutrition. They fail to exercise the muscles of their thinking faculties. They focus more on the acquisition of money and material possessions through any means possible. We must strive to consistently develop our minds. Let us feed our minds daily, just like we feed our physical bodies. Listening is a very important part of effective persuasion. It is very frustrating to communicate with people who hardly listen. Such people rarely effectively persuade anyone because their attitude is often irritating. So if you desire to be a good persuader, you must also desire to be a good listener. Listening is not merely keeping quiet when someone is talking. Listening is the ability to understand what is being said, even if you have a different opinion. A good listener is an unbiased person who can grasp vital information that would enhance persuasion. Divorce courts would have fewer cases if couples were good listeners. The ability to be a good listener enhances all types of relationships, formal or informal. It also boosts one's effort and goals. A good listener can deduce a speaker's mindset, but a poor listener can lose favor and relationships. So, are you a good listener? Friends, listening to someone does not invariably translate to hearing. One may hear what someone else is saying, but may not really be listening. The art of listening attentively is a learnable interpersonal skill that can be mastered. Have you ever heard anyone complain that someone listens too much? That certainly is inconceivable. You often hear people, particularly in affectionate relationships, say that someone hardly listens, but barely would you hear anyone complain that someone listens too much. People are more persuaded by good listeners than by poor listeners. Most poor listeners are motivated by their ego and sometimes self-seeking and impatient attitude. Talking but not listening is not good communication at all. Talking but not listening is not good communication at all. Some people attend seminars and symposiums but are hardly able to concentrate or listen in spite of the fact that they hear the presentations audibly. Many times their minds get so busy and distracted by many thoughts, which can impede anyone's ability to listen well during conversations or presentations. For persuasion to be effective, please avoid interrupting the speaker or interjecting during conversations, no matter the urge. By interrupting a speaker, one can inadvertently freeze or derail such a speaker's thinking process, which is certainly not healthy for communication. One key to effective persuasion is to strive to get the attention of whoever you wish to persuade, because most people have a very short concentration span. Apply strategies that could help to raise the interest of anyone or people that you wish to persuade. Have you ever watched a movie that is full of intrigues? Conspiracies and plots in movies are deliberate strategies by actors and producers of movies aimed at keeping their audience attention very high, because when a movie is boring, attention inevitably wanes. Also, learn to master ways to manage distractions when people that you wish to persuade get distracted. What do you do when you attempt to persuade someone but such a person gets distracted? You may have to ask for another appointment or agree to reschedule such meetings. There can be no persuasion without attention. So, be sensitive to decipher when someone's attention is waning. When presenting your proposals or ideas, don't waste time or energy attempting to persuade someone whose attention is lost. Always strive to get the full attention of the person or people that you desire to persuade. Interruptions during a conversation can be a constraint to effective persuasion, which may turn out to be very unproductive. It is important to aver that lots of people absorb or grasp less than 50% of what they hear. Therefore, any form of distraction or lack of attention thereof can be detrimental to your ability to persuade. It can even make you lose focus. So, summarizing your salient points during a conversation can enhance your ability to persuade someone or people. It enhances your presentation or shows a well-planned structure. Fix your attention on the person or people that you wish to persuade. The right body language can increase your ability to persuade. There are techniques to read what people have in their minds by decoding their body language. One incredible technique that can enhance your persuasive skill is the upgrade of your mental faculties. Avoid being embarrassed by failed or poor memory whenever you attempt to sell your ideas, products, or services to someone or people. Confront that barrier called fear, as it attracts failure on various fronts. Whenever you are afraid or nervous, you are likely to forget what you had planned to say before someone or people that you desire to persuade. So it is very important to develop your mental faculties. And one way to achieve this is through reading and meditation. And very importantly, learn to write things down. A Chinese proverb says, "The faintest ink is more powerful than the strongest memory." End of quotes. Still on the importance of writing vital information down, people have opportunities to persuade effectively, but because they do not write important issues down, they forget vital information and appointments, which sometimes culminate in loss of opportunities. Not a few people have very poor memory. When you improve your memory skills, you unavoidably improve your power to persuade. Many people do not know their telephone or vehicle license plate numbers off by heart. Do you know your international passport number, your national identification, or your social security number off by heart? That's a good way to exercise your memory. At the least, try to know one or two of such important numbers off heart. We all need to regularly exercise the muscles of our minds. Challenge or test your memory. Are you good with names? Or are you one of those who are never good at recollecting names? Do you know that you can upgrade your minds just by striving to remember names and numbers?
There are times that we meet people who we recognize, but yet we fail to recall their names. Have you ever had such an experience? Friends, are you in any form of relationship right now? The bedrock of relationships is persuasion. Endeavor to be observant or attentive during conversations. Sometimes you get people's attention or win their responsiveness when you call them by their names. For instance, whenever you go to a restaurant, make it a point of duty to find out the name of the waiter or waitress attending to you. Some of them carry name tags. Persuasion is a skill to influence. Go into a mental gym regularly for mental workout sessions. That will help to keep the muscles of your mind in active and healthy conditions. But always remember this: selfishness is a snare that suffocates persuasion. Strive to be objective and sincere if you desire to persuade effectively. Integrity and character are keys that opens the gate for effective persuasion, whilst trust is the bedrock of persuasion. People lose opportunities to nurture very good relationships because of their poor character. Make uprightness your lifestyle. Work tenaciously to be renowned for keeping your words. Whenever you encounter difficulties that threaten your reputation, try to communicate your challenges to the people involved. It is not what really happens to you that matters in life, but how you respond and effectively manage the circumstances that you encounter. Imbibe the habit of writing things down, such as your appointments and important schedules. We all need to upgrade the memory cards of our minds so that we can remember things that would enhance our ability to persuade. Forgetfulness could portray one as incompetence. Also, try not to burn bridges in your relationships with others. Endeavor to always honor your words or promises. It is such a great thing to do what is right. One fundamental aspect of effective communication is words. There can be no effective persuasion without words, either written, spoken words, sign language words, or sign words. Words are very powerful as they can make or break, they can create or destroy. So, use them to your advantage. Choose your words carefully. The right words can make you happy or sad, inspired or depressed. Words can influence one's decisions or actions. For instance, do you know what it entails for someone to gleefully take his or her own life? Suicide bombers become messengers of death through the persuasive power of words. When words are plastered with the truth or glazed with lies, they have the potential to persuade. But we must realize that no matter how long the truth is suppressed, it will stubbornly bounce back someday, because truth is extremely resilient. Persuasion is a vital key to success. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, boutiques, hospitals, and other businesses persuade us to patronize their services. Success is the triumph of persuasion, and words play a vital part in that journey of life. Wrong words or the lack of persuasion has led to countless battles, divorce cases, quarrels, or rancor. Every human being requires a tool of persuasion to succeed. You can be a master at phrasing the right words, be it verbal, written, or signed. Discard shorthand phrases if you truly desire to be an effective persuader. There are appropriate words for different circumstances of life. Avoid words or gestures that may be characterized as hostile. Shun negative outlook and refrain from using hostile expressions that put people on the defensive or offensive. If you desire to persuade effectively, weave your phrases skillfully with gracious words. Friends, one other effective tool that enhances persuasion and communication is telecommunication. Many people are ignorant about how to effectively utilize this channel. Not a few people have poor telecommunication comportments. It is very important for people to choose the right time for telephone conversations. For instance, It is certainly improper to call a potential client at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning or very late at night to discuss a proposal. How do you call someone very early or very late at night and all you have to say is, "I just called to hear your voice"? Learn to respect people's time and privacy. And when you make that call, always ask the receiver if it is convenient to talk or if he or she can spare some minutes for a conversation. Furthermore, it is important to state that people do not always have their telephones with them 24/7 all year round. Someone may be having a bath, driving, feeling ill, boarding a flight, going through security checks at a boarding gate, in a meeting, in a restroom, and so on. Always learn to go straight to the point and to skillfully summarize your conversations if you desire to succeed at persuading someone or people. There are etiquettes for telephone discussions which many people brazenly abuse. For folks in the corporate world, the combination of telephone discourses and email correspondences have become very viable options for effective communication and persuasion. Some people prefer to send text messages and emails as opposed to making telephone calls, while others prefer to make phone calls in lieu of sending text messages and emails. Since the advent of the telephone, internet services, and social media services, face-to-face meetings are not as common as they used to be. You can effectively persuade someone through any social media platform without a one-on-one encounter. For instance, why expend fuel needlessly and fritter away hours of valuable time in traffic congestions when you can achieve great results via emails, telephone calls, or even through virtual meetings? Indeed, many are oblivious of the truism that they lack telephone etiquettes, as they often sound very rude, impatient, and bad-mannered while making telephone calls. It will be impossible to read the body language of a person on the other end of a telephone call, but his or her tone can indeed be very revealing. How can you effectively persuade someone who is very rude and offensive through a telephone chat? In such a delicate situation, you would need to use your voice and the right words to get what you want through effective persuasion. One secret to achieving effective persuasion is the art of being very polite and straight to the point. So avoid beating around the bush during such telephone conversations. Over a telephone call, the way you sound to someone who is not seeing your facial expressions is very crucial. Sometimes, when some folks wish you good morning, you would wonder if all is truly well because of their seemingly hostile or scathing tone. In communication, there's an expression called "put a smile in your voice," end of quotes. That really works wonders, So why not try that right now? Imagine you're talking to a client in another city and you are trying to infuse a smile into your voice to express pleasantries and enthusiasm. Telephone conversations are all about voice, voice, and voice. More often than not, we make calls to people we do not really know, all in an attempt to get them to buy our ideas. How best would you want to sell yourself, your products or ideas? You've got to plan your strategies very well. What you say, how, and when you say it is key to effective or ineffective persuasion. Unfortunately, some people are naturally awful and inconsiderate. Do not allow such people to spoil your day or to frustrate your goals. Strive to be pleasant even with your voice. Be courteous and pleasant during telephone conversations. As you may very well know, there are so many ill-mannered people all over the world. So you have got to be cautious in your communication with people. Always strive to be civil and polite. That would lead you through the gate of effective persuasion. Ask yourself as often as possible, what message am I conveying to the person or people on the other end of the phone call? It is important to be mindful of the fact that you may be interrupting someone anytime you make a phone call. Always be sensitive about the timing before you make that phone call. If you call the chief executive officer of a company very early on a weekend or during a holiday while he or she is in bed, that could ruin your opportunity for effective persuasion. There is an adage that says, opportunity lost may never be regained. It is always very difficult for people to change their minds when they form an opinion about others. When you sense that someone is busy, offer to call or to get back at a more convenient time. Sometime in the year 2014, I went to a hotel to see a client at a time we had both agreed upon. I had to wait in the hotel lobby for about 45 minutes, and then I sent a reminder text message to him. He immediately invited me to his room, but when I got there, he was deeply engrossed in a very sensitive telephone conversation. Although he offered me a seat, when I realized that he was very busy on phone, I offered to go back to the hotel lobby downstairs to allow him some privacy for his business conversations. After about 40 minutes, he joined me at the hotel lobby and we had a rewarding chat. Point to note, we should be sensitive to ensure that we avoid distractions and garner the full attention of those whom we wish to persuade with our ideas. You see, your proposals may indeed have some merit, but if presented at the wrong time, it could hit a brick wall. Always ask someone you make a phone call to if it is a convenient time for a telephone conversation. It is easier for someone to turn down a proposition by telephone than during a face-to-face meeting. So always do your homework very well before making that phone call. Adequate preparations for a meeting will give you confidence during your presentations or conversation. Watch your attitude and try to sell your ideas very well. Have a game plan and be ready to make concessions. Let people know that you respect and value their time. Offer people solutions or incentives. Place your ego on quarantine. Detain your self-esteem during a conversation that requires persuasion. Avoid narcissistic tendencies and open squabbles. Offer people things that will benefit them as well as your good selves. It is more rewarding to give than to receive. And if you really desire to be an effective persuader, then you must endeavor to treat people with respect. Show them what a good listener you are and be creative in your persuasive approach. Develop a win-win strategy if you really desire to influence decisions through effective persuasion. Try to always be fair in your propositions. Do not appear to be self-centered. Aspire to win the confidence of the person or people that you wish to persuade. Sometimes, a positive compromise may be expedient for you to achieve your goals. This implies accommodating other people's goals and plans. Very often, while trying to push your ideas and aspirations, you may need to reach a compromise by way of negotiations. It's like a war of conflict of interests. Determine how best to effectively balance things so that all parties can be winners. Always manage your emotions. Even if you are unhappy and angry, you should pragmatically and responsibly convey your feelings to the other party or parties thereof. Anger has ruined many lives and businesses. Be very careful about how you manage different personalities. Resist the urge to interrupt a speaker, which is rude and could be counterproductive. Majority of people world over are poor persuaders. Sadly, this category of people are oblivious that effective persuasion is a skill that can be learned and mastered, a skill that can open the floodgate of success in every aspect of life. The lack of persuasive skills among married couples have led to the collapse of countless marriages. Many married couples are suffering in their marriages. They endure misery due to their inability to develop persuasive skills. There can be no room for effective persuasion in any marriage where deceit, double standards, indiscretion, and injustice thrive. It is not compulsory for everyone to get married. Many people rush into marriages thinking it is a bed of roses, but before long, they rush out of their marriages. Married couples can suffer needlessly and subject their children to grave emotional anguish when the children watch their parents live like cat and mouse. Life is simple if one applies the right keys, but humans make it very complicated for themselves. If you desire to persuade effectively, be confident to ask for whatever you desire. If you ask, chances are that you will receive. The objective of persuasion must be to achieve a win-win situation, but you must be careful not to flutter people's ego in the course of persuasion. Friends, do you know that persuasion is synonymous to fishing? To fish, you would require a fishing pole or a fishing net with a bait. You would also need to appositely map out your scouting strategies. In business, you could use bait like rendering some complimentary services to your clients or provide complimentary products for your prospective clients to try out. That can hold the attention of your prospects and help to convince them to consider your ideas or offer. When you show empathy and sincerity during communication, you will most likely reap effective persuasion. Be prepared to tolerate and manage people who are empowered with bad, difficult, cunning, rigid, toxic, confrontational, and negative attitude. People endowed with low self-esteem who exhibit chronic narcissism. You see, patient and objective dialogue is one way to manage difficult people, particularly hot-tempered, cynical, rude, sarcastic, impatient, narcissistic, procrastinating people. Haven't you seen very prominent and influential personalities and representatives of the government of several nations argue vehemently to the extent of having physical brawls? That is undoubtedly the result of lack of effective persuasion. When you enhance your persuasive skills, it will diminish or even completely eliminate any prospect for violent clashes and battles. Good attitude is a vital key for effective persuasion. So, do regular self-audit by asking yourself if people get inspired or irritated whenever you show up. Please remember to always study people's behavior through their body language. Strive to express your ideas logically. Apply empathy when necessary. Be careful to give out the right body signals and be bold to ask questions when it becomes expedient. Put yourself together and aspire for success in all that you do. Make concerted effort to understand various personality traits in order to avoid conflicts. Whether you are promoting yourself or some products or services, how you dress, smell, and your characteristic attitude communicate so much about your personality. The image that you present to people will determine the way they regard you. Be ready for surprises at any time and be prudent in your conversations with your spouse, your friends, your relatives, your colleagues, and others. Respect people's time. Endeavor to be audible and forthright. Talking over someone is very inappropriate and can be very annoying. If you are guilty of this, stop that forthwith. You cannot persuade effectively by talking over someone. To avoid being a victim of such misconduct, you have got to develop a resistant attitude to such nauseating behavior. And here's one vital factor that enhances effective persuasion. Never resort to flattery as a tool to curry favor in order to win the confidence of someone that you wish to persuade. Sincere compliments can enhance persuasion, but surely not flattery, which is often detrimental. Flattery may portray you as an insincere sycophant because it breeds distrust. It is good to be confident, but please try not to be overconfident in presenting your ideas or proposals. Even when you're unable to persuade someone or people, do not be discouraged. Be courteous and professional and appreciate such person or people for their time, as there could be more opportunities in future. Be courteous and professional and appreciate such a person or people for their time, as there could be more opportunities in the future. Be like a good sports person. Don't be a bad loser whenever you lose out on an opportunity. Maximize time rightly and try never to overstay your welcome at any point in time. As long as you do not easily give up trying, success may appear sooner than later. Persuasion is a skill that everyone must master in order to live a happy, successful life. Poor persuasive skills can lead to poor quality of life, but effective persuasive skills can inexorably open the doors of success for anyone. Therefore, make concerted effort to enhance your communication faculty, as it enriches relationships and collaborations. It also develops commitments, improves productivity and creativity, and encumbers conflict in various aspects of human endeavor. Wise men talk because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. These are words of wisdom from Plato, the great and renowned Greek classical philosopher. Effective communication determines about 85% of people's success. It is not just the ability to talk or write. It entails the ability to listen, to persuade, and to convey messages to all intents and purposes. It is a learnable skill that can improve every aspect of one's life. For anyone to achieve success in various facets of life, he or she should strive to be an effective communicator. Indeed, effective communication encompasses written and spoken words. It also entails non-verbal communication, such as the silent language, also referred to as body language. Effective communication does not cost much, but it can accomplish much. What you say, when, how, and where you say it matters a lot in life's boisterous journey. Effective communication is one of the greatest tools that enhances success, but it is often greatly misunderstood or oddly used. It, however, cannot be effective where there exist double standards and injustice. Words alone do not provide a holistic picture during communication. Researchers have proven that about 90% of communication is derived from non-verbal interactions. The human body speaks, and so we must learn the language of non-verbal communication. Words may say one thing while the human body says another. Actors and actresses are masters of body language. In a sense, every human being is an actor or an actress. To achieve great successes in life, you should strive to grasp the skill of reading the silent language, also called body language. Do you know that it is easier to tell lies verbally than to fake body language? Feelings are communicated more through body language rather than what people say. Our minds produce thoughts. Our thoughts produce our feelings, and our feelings in turn produce our body language. Do not study the body language of others alone. Study yours as well. The way you dress is a form of communication. Your facial expressions, your intonations, your postures, gestures, your eye contacts, and your body movement are all vital aspects of communication. When you see a married lady with a black eye, what message does that convey to you? The way a person sits down speaks volumes about his or her personality. When people eat or chew gum gruffly during telephone conversations, these are ill-mannered etiquettes. Communication is a two-way stream. For instance, when someone picks or digs his or her nose in public, that undoubtedly leaves a sour taste in the mouth and conveys a message of an uncouth persona. William Shakespeare was a renowned English playwright and poet who lived from 1564 to 1616. He once said, "There was speech in their dumbness, language in their gestures." End of quote. The right body language can attract success to your life. It is easier to distinguish a fake smile from a genuine one. Learn to often wear a smile on your face. Body language can reveal when someone is afraid or courageous, angry or happy, sad or shocked, disgusted or frustrated. One difficult aspect of communication is listening. Most people are terrible listeners. It is a fact that many people abuse the use of their telephones. There are people who barely make the most of their telephones. Some folks hardly read telephone messages. It becomes very frustrating communicating effectively with them through such mediums. Some exhibit laziness and impatience through puzzling shorthand text messages that can give anyone a headache to decode. It is important to sharpen your ability to communicate effectively, as it is a tool for success. Now, here are some nuggets for effective communication. In January 2015, a 46-year-old farmer who was a resident in Ogun State, Nigeria, beheaded his wife and his 3-year-old daughter, stabbed himself severely, set himself ablaze, and attempted to jump into a well, but was held back by his neighbors. Unfortunately, he passed away later on that day as a result of the fatal injuries he had inflicted upon himself. Sadly, this is one of countless suicide cases that occur the world over on daily basis as a result of fear, discouragement, and depression. The disease left no suicide note behind, but clearly his actions convey a message of most probably a bitter, angry, and dejected man who perceptibly gave up hope as a result of frustration and the fear of uncertainty of the future. Words are powerful and can be very impactful, but oftentimes actions speak louder than words. Friends, it is important to aver that people usually observe things from different perspectives. Communication is a powerful tool that is available for every human being. It is the bedrock of human existence. Everything we all do in life's boisterous voyage communicates. Without communication, there can be no progress or development whatsoever. Poor or bad communication is the source of most problems that people encounter. Effective communication is one key that opens several doors to success. Conversely, ineffective communication can shut multiple opportunities for success. Truth be told, effective communication is hard but possible to achieve. It fosters intimacy and mutual relationships. We must therefore aptly apply the energy called effective communication, as it can build or destroy. It can empower or encumber. It can also bring honor or dishonor. It is imperative for us to learn to choose our words or gestures circumspectly. More often than not, quarrels, battles, and wars are caused by poor or bad communication. Spoken words or body language reflect our thoughts. Nobody really knows how or when the art of communication began. There are over 7,000 spoken languages globally. The most spoken language world over by over 1.4 billion people is the English language. This ostensibly is closely followed up by the Mandarin Chinese language spoken by over 1.1 billion people. The art of communication is indeed a deep mystery. The ear, the mouth, the tongue, and the complex human vocal apparatus are all vital tools that enhance communication. The ability that human beings possess to communicate in abstract but intelligent words and symbols is a great phenomenon. There are basic communication skills that help people to get by, but there are very effective communication skills that attract success to one's life. Every human tribe is endowed with tools for communication. One factor that distinguishes humans from animals is their mode and ability to communicate. Aren't you glad that humans do not communicate like frogs? Have you ever heard the croaking of frogs? Chimpanzees, for instance, can only communicate with gestures because they cannot produce sound like human beings do. Indeed, communication is a very powerful tool for success in all aspects of human endeavor. What you say, how, where, and when you say it matters a lot in communication. Blessed Teresa of Calcutta, who was commonly referred to as Mother Teresa, she lived from 1910 to 1997. She was an outstanding Roman Catholic nun who once said, "Kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless." End of quote. Communication reveals people's character and personality traits. It is often said, and rightly so, that information is power. Nevertheless, information can only be power through the vehicle of effective communication. There are many people who have very important issues boiling on their minds, but are unable to express them due to poor communication skills. Mark Zuckerberg, the co-founder of Facebook, once said, "The thing that we are trying to do at Facebook is just help people connect and communicate more efficiently." End of quote. Letters, emails, and various social media platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and the like are all efficient ways to communicate and connect. For communication to be very effective, we must all strive to sharpen our communication skills. So, here are 6 nuggets for effective communication. 1. Do not judge anyone. Develop tolerance for criticisms because they will always come. 2. Do not react hastily to circumstances that stir up your emotions. Abstain from speaking whenever you are very angry to avoid saying things that you may regret thereafter. 3. Remember, your tongue is like the pen in the hand of your mind and must therefore be guarded from imprudence. 4. Strive to be a good listener and endeavor to always communicate coherently, credibly, and convincingly. 5. Never talk condescendingly to anyone if you indeed desire productive communication, good success, and happiness. And 6. Avoid issuing threats and disease from being sarcastic, vague, biased, or trivialize issues during communication. Effective communication is very vital for our overall success. It therefore requires a certain level of competence and effective strategy, irrespective of one's level of education, social status, or nationality. Getting your facts right would always enhance your success. Albert Einstein, the renowned theoretical physicist and philosopher of science, who lived from 1879 to 1955, once said, "I speak to everyone in the same way, whether he is a garbage man or the president of the university." End of quote. Our ability to understand emotional frequencies and the non-verbal communication of others will enhance our chances of success and mutual coexistence. Anthony Robbins is an American life coach and professional speaker. He once said, "The way we communicate with others and with ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives." End of quote. Now let us explore ways to master the silent language, which is also referred to as body language. A deliberate or unintentional action that transmits signals which can be visualized is called body language. It is the ability to interpret signals from the body, which sends a strong message than words could ever accomplish. Body language is the voice of the human mind. Have you ever heard the phrase, "You must have read my mind"? That is the result of accurate body language interpretations. Body language, or the silent language, is very powerful. It reinforces your messages through gestures, eye contact, postures, and so on. Human beings are complex creatures. The human anatomy has countless muscles that may be difficult to easily interpret at the same time, particularly visible muscles like those in the face and the eyes. Some human body expressions are involuntary actions that reveal a person's state of mind. People who explode in rage unwittingly display their inner thoughts and reveal their attitude or character. There are folks who develop bad habits over time that reflects in their regular body movement, which could be misconstrued or could distort their messages. Even without words, the movement of our bodies reel out messages. There are certain body expressions that add weight to our messages. A smile or frown sends out messages. When people are nervous, even without uttering a word, their body language can expose their fears. How we dress up, gaze, as well as the tone of our voices can expose the intent of our minds. Have you ever experienced a situation where someone points his or her index finger at you during a normal conversation? That's an offensive, bad-mannered, and inappropriate gesture which is very distasteful. Some indecorous habits that people exhibit during conversations include biting their fingernails, chewing gum gruffly while talking, eating during telephone conversations, having toothpick at the side of their lips during conversations, and so on. Such indecent attitude should be avoided at all costs for effective communication to thrive. On another note, impolite body language can be interpreted as a display of arrogance. It is odd when people boldly cover their mouths during a close-up conversation with others. Why don't they just simply keep their breath fresh? Such gestures send negative signals about them. Another bizarre and very common attitude is when people do not respect your personal space during conversations, as they come too close for comfort and sometimes with poignant breath. Respect people's personal space. Understand the positive and negative signals that gestures and postures give so you can improve upon your communication with others. Bad body odor or bad breath tends to fend people off. It is indeed amazing that some people do not bother about their personal hygiene as they move about with putrid body stench, and they wonder why they lose out on jobs or interviews or negotiations. They wonder why they seem to experience so much disfavor. In such cases, it is not what they say that appalls and repels people, it is the odor that they emit. Several years ago, I was on a 12-hour intercontinental flight and I sat next to a middle-aged man who sadly lacked good manners. It was such a frustrating flight for me. I had to cover my head with a blanket because of the poignant odor protruding from his mouth. He slept for hours with his mouth agape and yawned frequently. At a point, I had to tap on his shoulders to offer him a small bottle of South African wine. But unfortunately, he declined my offer and prolonged my ordeal. Even with a blanket over my head, I still choked from his bad breath. My goodness, bad is an understatement to describe the stench from his mouth. You see, some people perpetually transmit bad body odor or a sweaty smell. Avoid these negative body language habits at all costs. If you discover that you transmit negative body language, begin now to rid yourself of these habits in order to make your silent language work for you instead of it working against you. Now, let us analyze facial expressions. Some forms of body language can expose people's emotions, weaknesses, or strengths. The human face is like the indicator light of the mind. Our faces or eyes constitute the command and control center of our body's expressions. It is easy for anyone to pretend to be sick, sad, or happy through facial expressions. Most people look at a face to interpret body language. Facial expressions are very important during conversations. The human face is like a vehicle's digital cluster with several indicators. When someone is happy, the happy indicator light switches on in the face. Likewise, when someone is moody, anxious, angry, sad, surprised, disappointed, or I better remove this word, it's a problem for me. Likewise, when someone is moody, anxious, angry, sad, surprised, and disappointed, their respective facial indicators light up. There are about 43 muscles in the human face, and these muscles are like indicator bulbs that switch on and off in automobile digital dashboards. When you master the silent language, you will become a pro at detecting when someone is telling lies through facial expressions. This expertise is even more reliable than lie detectors. 3 common facial expressions are smile, unhappiness, and anger. However, smiles can be misleading. Ever wondered why people are instructed to keep a straight face while taking passport photos, but smile wildly while taking other photographs like selfies? A smile exaggerates facial expressions, which can affect recognition softwares in passport photos. Imagine a scenario where someone who is visibly unhappy about a situation is required to feign happiness and put up a fake smile for a photo shoot. However, it is easy to put up a smile, be it genuine or fake. Smiles enhance positive interactions. So it is better to smile when you interact with people because a frown could hinder progress and relationships. Question: if you went to a restaurant for a good meal and the waiter or waitress came up to you with a frown, wouldn't you be uncomfortable? Wouldn't you be inspired by a waiter or a waitress who puts up a smile to take your order, whether it is a fake or a genuine smile? Why do you think some corporate organizations like banks dedicate some of their personnel to stand by the entrances of their banking halls or offices to welcome customers with a smile? A smile is alluring and encouraging. Facial expressions impact our mood and emotions positively or negatively. Smiling is the best makeup to wear on your face. How would you feel if you attend a party and your host kept a straight face or a frown? There are people who hardly smile. For some, it will be easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for them to smile. But such tendencies send negative signals to others. Smiling doesn't hurt, but if you are the type that is not prone to smiling, at least you could borrow a fake smile when the occasion arises. Even past despicable leaders and serial killers like Adolf Hitler of Germany, Mao Zedong of China, Joseph Stalin of the former Soviet Union, Pol Pot of Cambodia, Idi Amin Dada of Uganda, and Saddam Hussein of Iraq all smiled whenever such opportunities arose. The wicked also smile. But seriously, how can one distinguish a genuine smile from a fake one? A genuine smile contracts the muscles around the eyes and is stimulated by a happy state of mind. A fake smile is a deliberate mask put upon the face which is contracted by the muscles along the cheeks that is linked to the mouth and stirred up by conscious control. With a fake smile, the movement of the lips is longer. More often than not, facial expressions reveal our true feelings. So quit lying and pretending that nothing is wrong when it is written all over your face that something is actually wrong. But then again, please smile only when it is necessary. Don't go perpetually smiling everywhere you go. That could be alarming and you may be considered mentally unstable. Furthermore, let us analyze eye contacts. Someone may say one thing, but his or her body language may say the exact opposite. There are people who can hardly look at others in the eyes during conversations. They usually look downwards or away from people they are having a conversation with, deliberately avoiding eye contact, and such facial expressions speak volumes. Their eyes reveal a lot. Whenever people tell lies, their eyes can expose such lies. It is easy to see love, lust, worry, impatience, or discouragement through someone's eyes. Haven't you heard the phrase, "I see love in your eyes"? The human eyes can reveal the secrets of the heart. Eye contact is crucial during a conversation. Although intermittent, eye contact can boost trustworthiness because the eyes give out powerful signals. Eye expressions can reveal whether or not a person is really listening. During a conversation, when a person who is supposed to be listening is looking elsewhere, that may be a signal that all is not going well with such conversation. Can you recall instances during a conversation when you avoided making eye contact with someone? A timid, guilty, or angry person may avoid making eye contact. Avoiding eye contact might just be an attitude thing, but the signal it gives out is what really matters. It is common to see situations wherein two erstwhile friends, now turned enemies, avoid making eye contact when they coincidentally meet. They usually look away from each other. Some people are naturally uncomfortable about making eye contact with someone of the opposite gender. Miscommunication is very easy when wrong signals are picked up through body language or the lack of eye contact. Someone may simply be concentrating, but that could be misconstrued as malice, guilt, or anger. Eye contact should be intermittent and certainly not a stare that could be misrepresented. Some people just stare at others, and such attitude can make anyone very uncomfortable. Indeed, it is important to look at people during a conversation, but please don't just stare at them. When someone is speaking, he or she tends to look away spasmodically because it enhances the ability to concentrate. Eye contact should be done with moderation. Every normal human being blinks about 10 to 15 times per minute. Blinking helps to lubricate the eyes. When someone is anxious or afraid, the blinking rate tends to increase precipitously. People who tell lies tend to blink faster than those who tell the truth. Some people shut their eyes from time to time for several minutes during conversations, sometimes involuntarily. So be sensitive about eye contacts. Too much makes conversations awkward, and too little makes you look untrustworthy. Finding that balance between the two extremes will make you more successful in your conversations with friends, families, colleagues, and potential clients. Friends, body language speaks louder than words. It is true that words alone do not provide a complete picture during communication. People often communicate more through body language than words. About 90% of human communication is derived from non-verbal renditions. Consequently, it is not incorrect to aver that we are all actors in one way or another, because actors are masters of body language. Actors put on the garment of another character, communicating a storyline or message to their audiences through their demeanor and body language. Communication is not all about spoken words. There are times that non-verbal communication sends a far stronger message than verbal communication. Spoken words can be limited, but our gestures, which often spawn from our subconscious minds, are more effective in communication. Consequently, in order to enhance communication and to make it very effective, it is important to combine body language with spoken words. Also, the tone and pitch of our voices are very important instruments in delivering a message. How we present ourselves during communication is very important. Since body language speaks louder than words, how we appear and how we say what we say matters a lot. While words convey information, the silent language reveals our attitude or state of mind. Sometimes what someone says may differ from the signals that his or her body transmits. Let us now analyze the impact of body language in marriages, which is one arena where body language takes preeminence in communication. Many relationships have been stifled by the syndrome of communiphobia, which is the fear of communication. For instance, a husband refuses to eat the meals that his wife offered him for weeks and insists that all is well. A wife responds to her husband's inquiry about her moodiness, but she responds to him that she is fine, while her body language is screaming that all is not well. The best way to be a good mind reader, which could enhance communication, is to be a good body language reader. So pay more attention to body gestures. Sometimes there are couples who do not speak to each other for days, weeks, months, and even for several years. Their bodies communicate resentment for each other. During such seasons, their body language reacts as they go into a cold war, which oftentimes degenerates into war of words, malice, and bitterness. More often than not, such situations are boosted by ignorance, pride, and arrogance. For you to be an effective communicator, you have got to master the art of body language intelligence. Learn to decipher the body signals of family members, colleagues, friends, clients, and others. How about your own body language? First impressions matter, so you must not allow your attitude to impede your messages. It is always important to get the attention of your listeners during a conversation. Body language enables people to determine whether or not they can trust you, work with you, or have a relationship with you. Begin to examine your own body language if you desire enduring success in all ramifications. And before you interact with anyone, endeavor to shield your emotions. Be circumspect about the messages that your body conveys. Set up a control tower in your mind that will coordinate signals from your mind to your body. The human mind sends signals to the human body, which culminates in our feelings and the inmost workings of our minds. Your tone, facial expressions, eye contact, and gestures matter a lot during interactions. Body gestures transmit messages. When people are very angry, for instance, they may not be able to control the signals that their bodies transmit, and this can be detrimental to any relationship. On a daily basis, in our relationships with family, colleagues, and friends, our senses receive and send signals to others. Our bodies can only receive or send signals based on information that passes through the gates of our five senses. Some say that seeing is believing, and that is true to an extent. However, hearing also stimulates believing. Another important aspect of body language is how people dress up, which is absolutely very important in communication. For instance, someone goes for a job interview in an oil exploration company and dresses like a gangster or a prostitute. Such outfit alone could disseminate a negative impression about that person's personality to the interviewers, which may very well disqualify him or her. Always dress the way you desire to be addressed. Your clothing can boost your self-confidence or low self-esteem, which could impact your body language. Your appearance determines the image the public will have about you. Your appearance determines the image that the public would have about you. How would you feel if a waiter or a waitress in a restaurant with a bad body odor serves you a meal and you also notice that he or she has long, unclean fingernails? What impression will that project in your mind? How you dress up, speak, act, and even how you commute speaks volumes about your personality. But here's a caveat. The cars that you own or ride in, or your material possessions should not define who you really are. Unfortunately, in some climes, you are generally assessed by your material possessions, such as your cars, the number of bodyguards that you have, private jets, and so on. Such ideologies promote the inordinate quest for materialism at all costs. That is a flawed value system because some folks who ride in luxury cars or fly private jets are bad debtors, criminals, or persons bereft of moral dignity. There are countries like the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, among several others, where wealthy and successful people commute by riding bicycles. It's all about people's philosophy. Okay, let us talk about nodding of the head and hand gestures. Do you know that these are common, involuntary ways or actions that enhance communication? They help to make others know that one is listening. One very important key for effective communication is the skill of listening. Great achievers are great listeners. Listening helps one to understand the speaker's perspective or point of view. Majority of people are very poor listeners, and this can affect their lives and relationships adversely. It is possible for you to hear someone speak but still not listen because your attention is not fixed on what the person is saying. It truly pays to be a good listener. Even the infamous and ruthless Empress Wu of medieval China, who was reported to have had a heart like a serpent and character like a wolf, a loathsome despotic ruler who reportedly killed her sister and teenage niece, butchered her elder brother, murdered her mother, poisoned her husband, killed her one-week-old daughter, and forced her grandchildren to commit suicide, among many other odious atrocities, was oddly reported to have been a very good listener. Isn't that astonishing? We apply our hands very frequently and involuntarily while illustrating or emphasizing a point. Do you know that our hands are wired to our brains? That is why during conversations, our hands spontaneously move to emphasize or reinforce our points. The pitch of our voices sends signals that could influence the flow of a conversation. Sometimes while attempting to make emphasis on an issue, the pitch of one's voice may increase, and this may send a wrong signal to a listener that one is shouting. This sometimes leads to quarrels or could exacerbate disputes. Has someone ever asked you why you were shouting during a conversation, but you insisted that you weren't shouting? The offender could have been that increase in the pitch of your voice. Be prudent in your speech delivery, particularly for folks who are hyperactive. Even their greetings may have a high pitch that may sound offensive. Have you ever heard the expression, silence is consent? How about the phrase, silence is golden? Well, there are times for one to be silent, but there are times also for one to speak up. You have to be good in communication to effectively discern both times. Nervousness hinders effective communication. When someone appears tensed during a conversation or a presentation, that could send negative signals to listeners. So strive to always be in control of your vocal tone. When bad attitudes such as laziness and procrastination cause you to lose viable opportunities, please do not blame it on the devil. Do something about your body language, as it can attract favor or disfavor. A good character or personality trait, such as diligence and uprightness, attracts favor to one's life. Never forget this aphorism. First impressions are made through body language, and this matters a lot. Make sure the impressions that you create with your gestures and attitude are good for others to read. Our senses send signals to the brain through which we form opinions about the issues of life. Mastering body language enhances communication, which opens the door of success. You can attract or repel success based on the signals that your body transmits. Body language is serious business, but sadly, many people do not consider it as important. Learn to understand the true signals that your body transmits. Eliminate messages that your body may convey, because the right signals can enhance your interactions and opportunities.
Imagination is the key to success in all ramifications. Success cannot appear without imagination, baked in the oven of the human mind. All great and dreadful inventions the world over are birthed in the corridors of the mind. Therefore, for us to attract success, we must stimulate our brain power, which is the organ of the human mind. We have got to nourish our minds with good nutrition, just like we nourish our bodies. We have got to exercise our minds just like we exercise our bodies. When the human mind is fed with good ideas, humanity graduates from commuting by horses and camels to commuting via automobiles, trains and airplanes. People then graduate from corresponding through telegraph to communicating via telephones as well as the internet. Undoubtedly, the internet is a wonder of the human mind. Conversely, when the mind is weak and redundant, it regresses into a workshop for evil works. It is said that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. That is why terrorists can brazenly decapitate their fellow human beings most gleefully. That is why armed bandits and other criminal gangs can degenerate to a state of wild animalism to kidnap and massacre defenseless students sleeping in their dormitories, as well as worshippers in religious places. That is also why a father will condescend to have sexual intercourse repeatedly for years with his daughter as well as granddaughters. When the human mind is polluted by vicious viruses and devilish ideas, any society could be in jeopardy. Now let us trace the footprints of one of the greatest minds of all times, the genius called Albert Einstein, whose accomplishments remain exceptional. Einstein was of Jewish descent. Born in Germany, he lived from 1879 to 1955. He was a theoretical physicist and a philosopher of science who developed the general theory of relativity. He is considered a genius and one of the major pillars of modern physics. In 1999, Time magazine conferred on him posthumously the Person of the Century Award. He is rightly described as one of the most intelligent people who ever lived. This great genius once said, "Imagination is everything." He also said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Voila! And guess what Einstein also said? He once averred, and I quote, "I am neither especially clever nor especially gifted. I am only very, very curious." What a modest statement from a genius and one of the greatest minds of all times. Einstein was determined to explore life. He was not afraid of failure. The human brain or mind is no accident. They are designed to empower us to dominate the world. One primary problem bedeviling many people and countries is caused by the neglect of this incredible phenomenon called the mind. When the mind is malnourished, neglected, or even polluted, it results in all kinds of vices like corruption and criminality in general. Many people live with an extremely poor reading culture and a very poor research culture as well. Poverty of the mind is the bane of underdeveloped countries. Most people are more concerned about making quick money and are therefore impatient about going through a process. Human capital development is a panacea for underdevelopment and failure. Albert Einstein spent 2 decades trying to develop a unified field theory, but he failed. However, he refused to allow the fear of failing to discourage him. You must be prepared to take risks and to strive to defeat failure. Never allow failure or the fear of failure to defeat you or discourage you. What do you want out of life? Do you really desire to succeed in your finances, your health, your career, your relationships? If you really do, then you have got to aim very high. Do not allow the fear of failing or past failures to deter you from achieving your goals. If you desire to succeed in life, you must endeavor to be excellent at what you do. Develop your unique talents. Be goal-oriented because you cannot hit a target that you cannot see. Einstein was a man who was least concerned about praises. He listened more and talked less. He tolerated and valued criticisms. He invested in friendship and had a great sense of humor. In Einstein's opinion, anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. He believed that the tragedy of life is what dies inside an individual while such a person is still alive. For this genius, creativity is seeing what others cannot see and thinking things that others have never thought about. So you have got to diligently follow the positive tracks of successful people if you desire enduring success in various aspects of your lives. Once Einstein was set on a goal, it was very difficult to dissuade him as he always devoted himself to his goals. He was very tolerant of others. He was very respectful. He was not arrogant. Do you think you can imbibe similar virtues? Friends, if you want to attract success in every area of your life, you have got to stimulate your brain power. The human mind is estimated to process over 60,000 thoughts on a daily basis. So endeavor to maximize your thought endowments. Learn to brainstorm. What are your goals? To build a successful business, career, relationship, or family? It is possible to achieve such goals. Study the lifestyle of successful people like Einstein, Thomas Edison, and many others. We can all be mentored and learn from great minds through information. How many books have you read in the last 1 year? Lots of people these days would rather spend valuable time glued to their TV sets or smartphones on social media and spend time and money clubbing. There is absolutely nothing wrong in enjoying oneself or unwinding, but the lack of desire for personal development in recent times is a lamentable tragedy. In some societies, for instance, lots of people would rather spend valuable money attending comedy shows rather than invest money in personal development that will upgrade the software of their minds. Laughter is good for the soul, but it would hardly proffer solutions to life's numerous challenges. We cannot laugh our way out of adverse circumstances that confront us. We must therefore invest in good nutrition for our minds, which is the gateway to our ultimate enduring success. When you pursue the goals that make you happy, success will in turn pursue you. It is time to get to work in the laboratory of your mind. One fundamental human fear is the fear of failing, while the mother of all fears is the fear of death. But for you to be successful and happy, you've got to conquer the fear of failing. Ask yourself, am I successful in key areas of my life? If your answer is yes, then I sincerely congratulate you. But if your answer is no, then it is not too late for you to attract and embrace success. Yes, indeed, success in your emotional life, success in your financial life, as well as in your overall well-being. Someone may be successful financially, but may be a complete failure in nurturing and managing interpersonal relationships. That is why there are billionaires who end up divorcing their spouses and become veterans in the community of divorcees. When you achieve your goals and embrace happiness, then you will achieve success. Indeed, success starts with your decisions. That is the decision to expand your horizon by upgrading the software of your mind. This undoubtedly would attract success to you. Personal development will lead you to the realm of success, which was Einstein's formula. Mahatma Gandhi was a renowned Indian lawyer who led his country to gain freedom from British colonial rule in 1947. Hear what Gandhi had to say about the human mind. I quote, "You can chain me, you can torture me, you can even destroy this body, but you will never imprison my mind." Friends, the human mind is limitless, powerful, and indestructible. Undoubtedly, it is evidence that something beyond the natural is behind nature. The human mind is incredibly remarkable and outstanding. Who would ever have believed centuries ago that airplanes will be a possibility today. Who would ever have imagined the possibility of the wonder called the internet, Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, cryptocurrencies, and so on are all wonders of the internet. Do you believe that there will be flying cars in the future? Tell me, which is easier to believe? Flying airplanes or flying cars? Do you know that there already exist flying hoverbikes? You see, the human mind can achieve the extraordinary if it is well nurtured and applied. Indeed, we can make remarkable impact on world affairs if we'll exercise the power of our imagination. Now let us introduce you to someone who lived centuries ago, whose tracks can impact anyone's life from one generation to another. He is commonly acknowledged to be one of the richest men who ever lived on earth. He is known as Jedidiah, which means beloved of God. You may have heard about King Solomon, King David's second son with Bathsheba, who ruled Israel about 3,000 years ago. Fortunately for those of us who would like to learn from his wisdom and even his foolishness, King Solomon left many clues behind that can enable anyone to achieve success and evade inevitable setbacks. Be inspired to imbibe the positive clues that King Solomon left behind, clues that can insulate anyone from failure, which is the enemy of success. Here is what King Solomon said about the seasons of life. I quote, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh." End of quote. For anyone to achieve laudable success in life, it is essential to realize that there are different seasons of life, such as spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Even hurricanes and tornadoes have their seasons. There is a season to plant and also a season to reap what is planted. The season of setbacks and challenges are seasons to sow like diligent farmers. So, what can one sow when one is having mind-boggling and seemingly cataclysmic financial turbulence, marital turmoil, emotional upheavals, and even health setbacks? Such challenges, seasons of life are times to plant seeds of wisdom, patience, courage, perseverance, focus, and hope. It would not hurt anyone to be hopeful and enthusiastic during tsunami-like trials of life. The reality of life is that difficult seasons sometimes usher in opportunities for success to be achieved. Our human character is molded and refined through our response to difficult situations. You may not be able to determine the circumstances you encounter in life's boisterous journey, but you certainly can determine your thoughts, because your thoughts mold your attitude and influence your response to adverse circumstances that you encounter. Now, what do you think is the difference between the 5th century and the 21st century weapons of war? The difference between medieval weapons of war like axes, bows and arrows, swords and spears, as against modern-day weapons of warfare like atomic bombs, cruise missiles, submachine guns, armored tanks, and the like, is applied knowledge through the power of imagination. Parabolically speaking, when light collides with the mind, it is called insight, and the result would be positive creativity and productivity. In medieval times, battles were fought with javelins, swords, spears, clubs, bows and arrows, but nowadays, wars are fought with sophisticated weapons such as hypersonic ballistic missiles, laser-guided precision missiles, machine guns, missile drones, armored tanks, anti-aircraft guns, aircraft fighter jets, iron dome missile shields, nuclear submarines, among many others. Through the power of the mind, humans are able to produce dreadful weapons of mass destruction such as atomic bombs, as well as chemical and biological weapons. Do you know that great and positive ideas are nutrients for the human mind? When the human mind is well nourished, inventions take place. But when the mind is starved and malnourished, ignorance begins to pollute the mind like cancer, and the result is usually devastating. Unfortunately, lots of people are plagued by their diseased minds. Going to the moon was a brilliant idea baked in the oven of the human mind. The concept for building airplanes, ships, and automobiles were all remarkable ideas. But the mind has also been the oven for negative ideas, such as terrorism, kidnapping, rape, murder, and fraud. These are ideas that are baked in diseased minds. These are horrible ideas that attract sorrow and destruction. Undoubtedly, the human mind rules the world. When an ignorant woman is ignorant of her ignorance, such ignorance turns out to be the calamity of the ignorant. Hello there. This is an exhilarating 3-part mentoring series titled Strategies for Women to Arise and to Exceptionally Excel. It is indeed a breathtaking piece that is pregnant with effective tools and strategies that can break the spinal cord of fear, ignorance, mediocrity, and complacency in the mind of every woman. This inspirational series can upgrade the minds of women with the latest software for extraordinary outcomes. An ancient proverb says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." Eleanor Roosevelt was a politician and the wife of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was the 32nd President of the United States of America. She was the longest-serving First Lady of the United States. She once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." End of quote. It is a fact that every normal human being desires to succeed in life, but many do not really understand what success entails. They often wallow in the mud of fear, worries, impatience, and discouragement. This mentoring program is an invigorating package of timeless success formulas that can nourish your mind, which is the gateway to your success and happiness. The human mind is a very powerful force. It is the oven where great and evil ideas are baked. Everything you see physically began as an idea. Good ideas bring about outstanding productivity, while bad ideas often bring about failure and misery. This program aims at revolutionizing the well-being of every woman in order to guard them against lack, fear, failure, sorrow, ridicule, and contemporary slavery. It can change any woman's perspective about life's numerous challenges and provide her with a stimulus for extraordinary achievements. It can also make women attractive to success. So, I say to women out there, be unshakable and unstoppable, because your setbacks today may very well be a subtle setup for outstanding comeback tomorrow. Be determined to snatch victory from the jaws of discouragement and failure. Women, you have got to aspire for greatness. Needless to say, you are in for a lifetime's experience. One phenomenon common among all human beings is adversity. It is no respecter of gender. Adversity is the fate of all human beings. It is a word synonymous with catastrophe, difficulty, suffering, misfortune, hardship, sorrow, trouble, tragedy, setback, downfall, unhappy circumstances, accident, destruction, sickness, obstacles, disappointment, failure, frustration, discouragement, and so on and so forth. Every human being encounters difficult circumstances from time to time. Life undoubtedly is full of troubles, sorrow, and difficulties. Living is all about solving problems on a daily basis. There's no escape from adversity. Howbeit, it is the bridge to success and happiness. No one has immunity from adversity. No one. An ancient scripture says, "Man that is born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble." End of quote. It is important, therefore, to note that adversity is a recipe for success. Without adversity, success will not exist. Whatever difficult circumstances you encounter in life's boisterous journey matters less. What really matters is how you respond to adversity and not how you react to it. You see, more often than not, difficult circumstances oftentimes disguise in opportunities for success. It was Henry Kaiser who said most aptly that problems are only opportunities in work clothes. End of quote. Challenging situations are time and again setups for success. Adversity will teach you things you may never have learned in school. Any successful person you encounter today is one who was bold enough to confront that Goliath called adversity and was able to overcome it. And here's to you all women.
Learn to boldly confront that Goliath called adversity. Indeed, your Goliath may very well be a series of failed goals or businesses. It may be a stubborn child, a promiscuous husband or partner, grave financial quagmire, lack of skills or ideas. It may be a turbulent or decomposing marriage. It may even be barrenness, miscarriages, or joblessness. It may also be a wayward child or one that is hooked on drugs. It may be sickness or bereavement. It may also be chronic scarcity or mind-boggling poverty. Whatever that enemy is called, respond to it with courage and determination. Confront difficult situations with courage and resilience. Adversity gives way when confronted by courage, hope, and unshakable determination. But wait a minute, how would life have been without challenges or difficulties? Extremely strange and boring, you would agree. Adversity is a necessary recipe that spices up life and reveals a person's true character and talent. Now let us imagine for a moment that you inadvertently entered a wrong premises where there are loose Rottweiler dogs loitering about. The moment you set your eyes on them, you'd most probably discover either your running skills or your high jump abilities. That is what adversity does. It has sharpened many people to be very resilient. It stimulates people and helps them to discover their hidden talents. Stormy weathers are no respecter of airlines. How pilots respond to the storms that they encounter while flying airplanes is what really matters. Likewise, the storms of life do not discriminate. Every normal human being aspires to succeed in life, but no one really wants to go through pain and difficulties. No one wants to experience disappointments and setbacks, but difficult situations mature the human mind. One of the most common setbacks that women encounter is mediocre thinking. The brightest light can only be discovered in the darkest milieu. We do not really appreciate gold until it passes through fire. Countless women are ignorant about the reality of adversity. They see challenges and setbacks as a vicious enemy. No one is immune from adversity. Another ancient scripture says, "If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small." End of quote. Truth be told, when you are able to turn difficult situations inside out or upside down, the only thing you'll find is success. The brain of a girl or a woman is not a weaker version of that of their male counterparts. Women should learn to see difficult circumstances as opportunities for success to appear. That would help them to determine how they respond to difficult situations in life. Someone may be wondering, what good is there when people lose close relatives in accidents or in violent attacks? What motivation or prospect is there when a mother watches her teenage daughter get gang raped? What benefits can there be when husbands or wives stumble into their spouse's extramarital profligacy? What good could there be for a woman when her husband walks out of their 25-year-old marriage and hooks up with a teenage concubine after all the years they have toiled together? When a woman is assaulted by adverse circumstances that consume her hard-earned resources and plunges her into a pool of mind-boggling and grievous financial crisis, what incentive can there be in such misfortune? A success is someone who triumphs over difficult circumstances and is able to achieve desired goals. Every human being on earth shall experience the reign of adversity from time to time. So how you respond to the challenges of life you encounter will determine your outcome. Winston Churchill, a former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, once said, "Never, never, never give up." End of quote. Always remember this, that darkness does not endure forever. You must realize that there are different seasons in life. It will not always be winter with its blistering cold. Summer will come and things will change for good. Weeping may endure for a season, but joy will surely come when night is overthrown by day. The problems of life cannot defeat you if you confront them with wisdom, courage, patience, and determination. Obstacles or setbacks give up when tenaciously confronted by hope, courage, and perseverance. The only one who can stop you is yourself. It is true that people may succeed in slowing you down,
But if you don't give up on the pursuit of your aspirations, you can be unstoppable. The level of challenges that you encounter will determine the level of success that you get if you respond courageously and wisely to the opportunities that shelter in difficult situations. Your greatest disappointments can usher in your greatest success. But please, stop invoking the spirit of adversity through negative utterances such as, "My marriage is hell on earth," or "This situation is consuming me." You see, you can refer to adversity as an experience, but resist the urge to refer to it as "my problems" or "my sickness." Don't even use the Nigerian slang "wahala," which means problem, because words have creative and destructive abilities. Listen, there's no technology known to humankind that can stop natural disasters like hurricanes or tornado storms, but so much has scientifically been invested by experts to detect, to monitor, and to protect people from such great storms. Similarly, we cannot prevent storms like hurricane adversity from visiting its wrath on humanity, but we can protect ourselves from the adverse impact of the storms of life. So, work on your mind, as it is the gate to super achievement or to failure. Accept no limitations whatsoever. Do not accept the possibility of failure. There are storms of life that may attempt to tarnish or even succeed at tarnishing your reputation. Some storms may come your way in forms of scandal, financial crisis, or humiliation. Your character would always reveal who you really are. Develop a character of forthrightness and resilience. What others think about you may be important, but what you think about yourself is far more important. Do not allow what people think about you to really bother you. And here's one strange secret to achieving your desired goals and happiness. Always prepare for adversity. Do not deceive yourself that it is not your portion to experience difficulties or setbacks. Do not be afraid of challenges, for they will always come with hidden opportunities that can usher in promotion in various aspects of your life. Adversity is a catalyst that will make you appreciate success. Although it succeeds in wrecking many lives, but it also succeeds in making many people great. It is a great price to pay for success, but the price of failure is even worse. Now, here's one riveting citation on adversity by Thomas Carlyle, who was a Scottish satirical writer, a teacher, and historian during the Victorian era. He said, "Adversity is the diamond dust heaven polishes its jewels with." End of quote. What an amazing citation indeed. Do you know that adversity is a test of character? It opens the eyes of the heart. Here's one interesting citation from Victor Hugo, the renowned French poet and novelist who lived from 1802 to 1885. He once said, "Adversity makes men, and prosperity makes monsters." End of quote. Men in this context is generic. It refers to the male and female gender. Women, you have the ability to turn your night into day and your sorrow into joy. You have the ability to be super achievers. You have the capacity to be exceptional in your sphere of influence. But you have got to be courageous, patient, and resilient. You must refuse to be discouraged in the battlefield of life. Napoleon Hill is the renowned author of the best-selling book Think and Grow Rich. He lived from 1883 to 1970. Here's what he once said: "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." End of quote. The difference between defeat and success lies in your perseverance. Super achievers like Oprah Winfrey became exceptional by turning difficult situations around. You've got to be bold to navigate your way out of the jungle of setbacks and misery. When things appear like a mirage and looks like there's no way out for you, be determined to ponder on strategies that will make a way out of every difficult situation you may find yourself in. You have immense ability buried in you. Success or failure is no respecter of gender.
They only respect the laws of the universe. No goal is impossible to achieve if you believe and tenaciously work towards achieving it. You see, it is not how many times that you fall on the path to achieving your goals that matters, but how many times you courageously rise each time you fall. Do not beat yourself too hard whenever you fail or make a mistake. Rise up anytime you fall, forgive yourself, and keep on pushing towards the right direction. You may have had several failed attempted marriages or even failed marriages. You may have had several miscarriages. But remember, quitters never win. Let me tell you a story that could inspire you. In 2012, a 52-year-old woman was delivered of a baby girl after 2 decades of trying to have a child. How many women can persevere that long? Many husbands will have given up and proceeded to have extramarital affairs in order to have a child by another woman. What are you going through right now? Have you been jobless for years? Have you suffered many miscarriages? Have you tried your hands on several projects but they all failed? Meanwhile, your peers have all advanced exponentially. Do not be discouraged to give up on your dreams and aspirations. Refuse to be moved by what people say or think. Set your eyes on what you want to achieve and pursue your goals with wisdom and passion. Are you a spinster who is well over 40 years old and your siblings are married except you? Have you suffered several betrayals and it now looks like the clock is ticking against you? Are you a young lady who is divorced or cannot even find the right spouse? You feel so lonely and frustrated. Life seems like an endless ring of emotional torture and despair. Have your businesses or finances crumbled like a pack of cards? Have you been trapped in mind-boggling, protracted financial crisis? Are you being ridiculed by people you once supported? Are you in a marriage that can best be described as Hitler's concentration camp? Did you discover that your spouse is having an affair with your siblings, or a very close friend or colleague, or even your maid, and it seems like the worst misfortune that can happen to anyone? Misery now hibernates at the core of your heart. What difficult situation do you currently find yourself in? Friends, do not give up hope, because every misfortune and setback has an expiry date. To every woman out there in despair, I say, do not faint in the battlefield of life. Stir up your determination. The path to success and happiness is never easy. Your level of education, your degrees or awards will not keep challenges of life away from your door. Nothing can shield you from the challenges of life, because circumstances out of your control can come against your plans and happiness. It was the renowned Thomas Edison, that great American inventor who is considered to be the father of electricity, who once said, "I am not discouraged, because every wrong attempt discarded is another step forward." End of quote. What an outstanding statement indeed. Discouragement is a universal plague. It will put pressure on you to give up, but determination is the fuel that runs the vehicle of success. Your spouse, friends, or family may discourage you, but you must be resolute. There is no free lunch anywhere, not even in Freetown in Sierra Leone. There is power in determination. Work hard and work smart to achieve that goal that you hold so passionately. Strive to be unshakable when the going gets tough. Of course, it may not be easy, but you have got to be hungry for success and to be determined to succeed. Always remember this: your attitude towards difficult situations in life is key to your success or to your failure. Everyone encounters problems, but what counts is how we all respond to life's numerous challenges. So, stop counting your losses, such as the number of miscarriages you've had, the financial losses that you have incurred, the number of years that you have been without a job or without a child or without a spouse. Instead, count your blessings. If you are not blind or paralyzed, if you are not on a wheelchair, if your legs or arms have not been amputated, if you are not in a hospital for a chronic ailment like cancer that requires huge sums of money, and if you are alive today, then you are blessed indeed. Therefore, count your blessings one after the other in spite of your present circumstances. The renowned C.S. Lewis, who was a British author and scholar, once said so aptly, "God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world." End of quote. Did you hear that? Let me tell you another story. In June 2014, a 58-year-old woman was delivered of a baby girl at the St. Eve's Specialist Hospital in Lagos, Nigeria, after 30 years of childlessness and 6 failed IVF procedures. Please do not waste your doubts. Just confirm this through Google. The elated woman had this to say to women in their 50s who are still expecting to conceive. She said, "Don't give up. What if I hadn't gone for the last IVF treatment? What if I had thought I'd had enough of the emotional turmoil? I had given up on carrying a child. I was on the verge of adopting, such that I did not even know what the symptoms of pregnancy were when it came. I'm glad I kept trying." End of quote. Adversity is a curriculum that everyone must undertake in the University of Life. Anyone who fails such a course or examination can never be promoted in life. Let me reiterate the truism that adversity is the fate of every human being. It is the bridge to success or failure. It is a priceless teacher and motivator. It is designed for our good. Adversity gives life meaning and substance. Life is replete with series of adversities. Pain often discourages one from going the wrong direction. It often propels people towards the right direction. No one remains the same after navigating through the boisterous waters of adversity. It plays a vital role in our progress as human beings. The way you respond to adversity will determine the outcome of your life. It is said that attack is the best form of defense. Therefore, be eager to attack the challenges of life with courage, hope, wisdom, and determination. You can turn difficult situations around if you seek wisdom. Many people attract problems to their lives, and frankly, that is the only way they can learn the lessons of life and mature, since more often than not, they pursue vainglory. It is always better to seek wisdom through mentors than to obtain wisdom through adversity. Do you know that there's really nothing like stagnation? Some people feel that their lives are just stagnant. The universe is never static. A person either moves forward or backward. Many people have asked and continue to ask why bad things happen to good people. For instance, in 2007, a lady who had been out of Nigeria for over 20 years finally visited the country. She traveled from the United States of America, where she lived with 3 of her children. But about 48 hours after she arrived in Nigeria, she unfortunately was murdered by armed robbers who terrorized her children and shot one of them. What a traumatic ordeal for her children who were visiting Nigeria for the very first time. How very sad indeed. Friends, life is no bed of roses, and adversity is no respecter of persons.
Success is generally but inadvertently measured by the amount of money, power, and fame that individuals or people obtain or possess, which is often centered on the promotion and gratification of oneself or people. Good success endures. It is therefore important to realize that everything on earth is a fleeting and temporary phenomenon. Howbeit, good success is sustainable and should necessarily outlive the individuals or people involved. For instance, John Davison Rockefeller was an American business tycoon and philanthropist who founded the Standard Oil Company. He lived from 1839 to 1937. He left tracks of success in the sands of times and is still very much impactful till this day through his investment in blue-chip conglomerates as well as through the Rockefeller Foundation. In 1916, he became one of the first billionaires in the world and remains one of the wealthiest Americans of all times, as it is on record that he once controlled 90% of all the oil in the United States of America. Success does not necessarily come from hard work alone. That idea is a boring and crippled myth. There are countless people who work extremely hard for many hours on a daily basis but still remain poor, miserable, and unsuccessful in several aspects of their lives. An interesting analogy about success is reeled out in a popular parable called the Parable of the Talents. A man was said to have embarked on a journey, but before his departure, he gave 3 of his servants different amounts of talents. To one he gave 5 talents, to the other he gave 2 talents, and to the 4th servant he gave 1 talent. Alas, upon his return, he discovered that the servant with 5 and 2 talents respectively had doubled their talents, while the last servant with 1 talent hoarded his talent and did not invest or increase the seed talent that his master had availed to him. It is on record that the master commended the first 2 servants but condemned the 3rd servant who foolishly hoarded his talent and did not experience increase. This analogy shows that success comes through diligent and smart work. Talents are synonymous with our inherent gifts, skills, or potentials, which are hallmarks of successful people. Success is attracted through diligent and smart effort to achieve desired goals. Do not bury your talents and abilities. Invest them in the garden of your imagination and reap the desired fruits thereof. We are all not created equal. We are all endowed with different skills, talents, and abilities. Good success entails making concerted effort to impact humanity positively that would outlive us. Success appears when we maximize opportunities that we create or encounter. So strive to always maximize good opportunities that you encounter or create. Good success encompasses discovering purpose, fulfillment, and satisfaction that we so fervently desire and seek. Every normal human being desires to succeed in achieving set goals. Have you ever heard anyone express a desire to fail? Even criminals aspire to succeed in their evil and despicable enterprises. When people speak about success generally, their mindsets are all about the acquisition of lots of money, posh cars, houses, properties, jewelry, designer clothes, fame, and influence. But good success transcends all of the foregoing. Don't ever allow the veil of failure or despair to shroud your imagination. That has led many people to give up hope and to regrettably seduce the idea of committing suicide. When you hear stories about your peers who have become multi-millionaires flaunting huge amounts of money, do not be envious of them and do not consider yourself a failure. Lots of people have one time or another become negatively inspired by the flamboyant lifestyle of notorious serial internet fraudsters and political thieves. But when the wheels of justice that grind slowly but surely eventually catches up with them, their perfidious and nauseating lifestyles crumble to a pitiable halt. Everyone has his or her time. We are all travelers here on earth with different assignments and purposes. Focus on achieving your own purpose. Strive to make this world that is so full of wickedness a better place. Desire to make positive impact within your sphere of influence. It is never too late to strive to make positive impact on humanity, no matter how little. Friends, it is important to understand the distinction between good and bad success. Each time you overcome frustration and depression, you have achieved success in that aspect of your life. Success is not evaluated momentarily, but over a period of time. Someone may achieve success today, but may be a failure tomorrow. Good success endures. Like the saying goes, it is not a sprint, but a marathon race. So take note that temporary setbacks or failures are crucial elements for success. You are only qualified to be awarded the certificate of failure when you opt to give up on the pursuit of your aspirations. Good success is not determined by the ostentatious lives that people live, but by their impact on humanity. Your value or success is not determined by how people perceive you from the outside. Neither is it determined by your bank account balances, the cars that you own or ride in, the houses that you own or live in, the islands that you visit and shut down on frivolities, the designer clothes and handbags that you possess, and so forth. How does an individual expend millions of US dollars on a birthday bash, flaunting ostentatious lifestyle on social media, when over 100 million people in his or her country live below the poverty line and on less than $1 a day? A country wherein poverty and economic bandits have captured its soul, crippling countless businesses and lives, as well as invoking the demons of criminality. Such a brazen and extravagant act is indubitably insensitive, appalling, and irritating. good success will always inspire and empower. The saying goes that success and failure are on the same track. You can only achieve success if you refuse to give up at the bus stop of failure. When you refuse to give up hope under intense pressure and challenges, that in itself is success against the bandits of discouragement and misery. Resilience is key to success only when it is for a good cause. Many people are determined and focused on the wrong paths and goals. The abundance of money is not equivalent to success, although money can indeed enhance success in several aspects of human endeavor. Always remember this: the only reward for failure are the lessons that one can learn thereof, because failure is often accompanied by pain and sorrow. Simply put, success is the ability to rise again each time one falls. It entails discovering one's purpose in life. When someone conquers the urge to do evil by doing good, that is success. It is the ability to resist addiction. It is refusing to steal when such an opportunity presents itself. Do not envy people who live pretentious lives. Focus on your own race. Rejoice with those who work tenaciously and diligently to achieve their aspirations, and support those who are making fervent effort to achieve laudable goals. Success entails doing the right things in the right way. Even if you fail to achieve a certain goal now, do not despair or give up hope. Keep pushing the vehicle of enthusiasm and hope. Failure is not cast in stone, as it can be swallowed up by success through your resilience and the application of smart strategies. The access codes into the kingdom of success are wisdom, discernment, uprightness, focus, diligence, and determination. Strive to endure setbacks and challenges. Abhor greed and selfishness. Be content with whatever you have achieved at every stage of your life while you aspire for greater achievements. Every normal human being in his or her right senses should desire to succeed in every aspect of life. No sane human being would like to dwell in the wilderness of failure and despair. Nonetheless, we all need to be wise and circumspect. The mentality of ghoulish competition leads many people to achieve bad success laced with acrimony. Success will come knocking on your door when you make yourself attractive to it by applying the right strategies. Some people may be very successful financially, but may also be morbid failures in their marriages and interpersonal relationships. Failure often attracts inferiority complex and depression. There's no successful individual who does not taste the puddings of failure. However, success would embrace everyone who refuses to be defeated. Whenever you overcome the hypocrisy of religious indoctrination, that in itself is success. When you overcome a toxic or bad relationship, that is success. For many who inevitably had to exit very unhealthy marriages through annulment or divorce, that is success, because a bad marriage is a foretaste of misery. When someone is able to flee a pernicious and abusive relationship, that is success. Here's an analogy that will fascinate you. There was a genius called Steve Jobs. He was a visionary American entrepreneur and co-founder of Apple Incorporation, a technology giant. Jobs and his partners, Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne, started Apple Incorporation from Jobs' garage in 1976. But today, Apple Incorporation has metamorphosed into a multinational technology conglomerate that employs over 161,000 employees as at the year 2023. It all started with an idea and from a garage. Such a business that is able to employ tens of thousands of people can aptly be described as a success because the founders obviously achieved their goals. The products of Apple Incorporation, such as iPhones, Mac, iPads, as well as software products like iOS, are currently hugely patronized and utilized in many countries across the world. The joy of good success is sweet, but the lessons from failure along the highways to success are priceless. There is no successful human being who never failed. Michael Jordan, Walt Disney, Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, Tyler Perry, and a myriad of other superachievers all have stories of past failures, but through diligence and resilience, they were able to achieve success in different aspects of their lives. Many of the remarkable success stories started with failures and frustrations. Even countries encounter failures and misfortunes, but every setback should be considered a superb setup for outstanding comebacks. Success is not a religious hypocrite. It responds to the opposite principles of nature, such as diligence, wisdom, focus, and resilience. Great passion and determination to achieve laudable goals can propel the vehicle of your ambition to a place of success. It was the renowned Albert Einstein who once said, "Failure is success in progress." End of quotes. Many people succeed financially and in their businesses, but fail in their marriages and relationships no matter how much they try. Tyler Perry's testimony is one that is indeed inspirational and instructive. He is a renowned American actor, playwright, and filmmaker who said he once invested all his savings in a show, but he failed woefully. Nonetheless, he never gave up. He even recounted sleeping in his car many times, but now he undoubtedly has become an exemplar and distinguished successful film producer. A man who slept in his car many times has become a billionaire and a prominent, celebrated, successful film producer. Soichiro Honda is the legendary founder of the Honda brand of vehicles, who once manufactured piston rings for Toyota Motors, but his products were once rejected by Toyota because they considered Honda's piston rings below their standard. Piston rings are expandable split rings that are used to provide seals between the piston and the cylinder walls of an engine. In spite of being rejected by Toyota Motors, Soichiro Honda was undeterred and refused to give up on his dreams. Alas, the Honda brand of vehicles and other ancillary Honda products have been a successful brand that now outlives its founder. Good success outlives the source and impacts generations. So, what will your own story be like? Success or failure? And if it is success, would it be good or bad success? Will the successes that you achieve outlive you to impact generations to come? Adolf Hitler was successful in a mass massacre of millions of people, but his negative and devastating success or achievement would forever outlive him as a despicable and dreadful butcher. Friends, life is no bed of roses. Success that we crave for is a daunting task, be it in our finances, health, careers, and relationships. A divorce or separation can be qualified as success if one is able to eject oneself from a toxic or hellish relationship. For those who embrace depression and frustration instead of resisting such destructive energies, you certainly can do better. We must never consider the possibility of giving up on life and contemplate suicide. Tomorrow is pregnant with incredible opportunities that one may miss out on if one fails to guard against and resist setbacks. Success appears when we tenaciously reject discouragement and failure. Abhor the bitter taste of failure with intense fervor. We can responsibly avoid failure at all costs, whether it presents itself as a temporary setback or a permanent gravestone. Your success depends on your choices. There is no human being born of a woman who has never failed and one who can never fail. So failure should not be a humiliating experience or phenomenon. We must therefore rise up and dust ourselves anytime we wittingly or unwittingly fall. What matters in life is how we respond to difficult circumstances that we encounter. Temporary setbacks or challenges should not deter us from pursuing our dreams. Criticisms and frustrations could set roadblocks to your goals, but you must be determined not to be discouraged. Many great personalities, super achievers, and legends were once nobodies. There is no one who doesn't suffer or encounter defeat or failure. Learn from your mistakes or setbacks. Importantly, learn from the mistakes and challenges of others. It is cheaper than being a scapegoat to failure. Whenever you encounter temporary setbacks or failure, do not feel condemned or frustrated. Hold on tight to your desired goals. Hold on tight to your desire for good success and strategize more effectively. And for you to achieve good success, you must courageously take the bull by the horn. In October 2012, news made the round world over of a 20-year-old Brazilian girl who put her virginity for auction online to the highest bidder. The bid ended on the 24th day of October that same year, and the highest bidder was a Japanese man who reportedly won the bid at a whopping $780,000. For weeks, this despicable online virginity demolition bid went on. It was shocking to see how unabashed men fought tenaciously to pay such a whooping sum of money just to disvirgin a 20-year-old girl. What an incredible absurdity. It was also reported that the act was to be consummated aboard a private airplane on a flight from Australia to the United States of America.
Her aim, purportedly, was to raise money to help poor families in her community in southern Brazil. It is indeed ludicrous that prostitution could be depicted as a legitimate instrument to help the poor. It was flabbergasting to monitor such online virginity demolition pits, as several men had contended for that outrageous episode of a goofy, contemporaneous prostitution. In this 21st century, absurdity has been subtly repackaged. How sad it is that a 20-year-old girl, devoid of all decency and dignity, will condescend to such level of inanity. But why I recount these sordid reports? It is because success is indeed relative and means different things to different people, be it prostitutes, armed robbers, bandits, terrorists, and even despotic and cruel leaders like Adolf Hitler, who only attract bad success to their names. Still on the subject of bad success, let us examine the lifestyle of Adolf Hitler, one of the most despicable and brutal leaders the world has ever known. In many European countries like Germany, Austria, Spain, France, and the Netherlands, the name Adolf, or its translated equivalent, which was a common name in the 19th and 20th century, has since been jettisoned as a popular forename because of the notoriety of the brutish Adolf Hitler, the German butcher behind the Holocaust. Names are very important and significant to the destiny of any individual, people, or nation, be it the name of a person, corporate entity, community, state, or country. It may astonish you to hear that some parents curiously give their children weird names like Violence, Full Stop, Zombie, Facebook, and even Lucifer. Fascinatingly, in the Latin language, the name Lucifer actually means morning star or bringer of light. In New Zealand, for instance, the government's name registrar had to ban parents from giving their children uncanny names like Violence. Anyways, let us get back to Adolf Hitler's dossier. Undoubtedly, one of the greatest vices and consequences of bad leadership in global history was the Holocaust. But surprisingly, as horrific as it was, there are people who are hitherto ignorant about it, and others who do not even believe that the Holocaust was a reality, despite evidence to the contrary. The word Holocaust is derived from the Greek word holocauston, which means a completely burnt sacrificial offering, usually offered to a god. In historic terms, the Holocaust was a systematic state-sponsored persecution and extermination of various ethnic, religious, and political groups perpetrated by the National Socialist German Workers' Party, also known as the Nazi Party in Germany before and during the Second World War. It involved killing squads and concentration or extermination camps with the sole objective of entirely wiping out members of the population considered to be undesirables. Jews all over Europe were the main targets. It is estimated that over 6 million Jews were exterminated in Germany alone. Other undesirables in the population included Jehovah's Witnesses who refused to enlist in the German army. Homosexuals and people with various forms of disabilities were also considered as undesirables. Adolf Hitler was born on the 20th day of April in the year 1889 and became the German leader on the 30th of January 1933. Hitler eventually lost touch with reality, becoming obsessed with a devilish ambition to remodel Europe and change world history by creating a master race. He was possessed with a nonsensical notion that he was the savior of the German people. His primary goal was rearmament. His foreign policy was the acquisition of guns. Hitler was a tyrant, a ruthless dictator, and a malicious butcher with an insatiable appetite for genocide driven by deep hatred. He fought to destroy all the Jews living in Germany by enacting racist laws and eventually by reducing Jews to second-class citizens. Jews were removed from their places of work. Their businesses were boycotted or even taken over by Aryan Germans, and all those Jews who had German citizenships were stripped of their rights. Their children were barred from German schools. When the Second World War began, the oppression of the Jews became a way of life in Germany. What began as a mere oppression eventually burgeoned into the Holocaust, a deliberate and well-orchestrated strategy to eliminate the Jews from the face of the earth. Success for Hitler was to achieve his goal of a so-called perfect race. His priority goal was to annihilate the Jews, not only in Germany, but in Europe as a whole. The Nazis established death camps where millions of Jews were sent to die. The Holocaust was dreadful. About 9 million Jews were massacred across Europe. That's astonishing. Executions were merciless. Babies, young children, women and men were often tortured before being killed. The Nazis were sadistic mercenaries of death. Adolf Hitler was indeed a radical anti-Jew fanatic. His anti-Semitic ideology, which is enunciated in his book Mein Kampf, explains Hitler's passionate goal to utterly destroy the Jews. At the end of the Second World War, Poland alone had lost over 3 million Jews. Hitler had ordered the establishment of 7 concentration or slave labor camps. Hunger and sickness, particularly typhoid fever, was endemic in the camps and were responsible for a large number of deaths, in addition to those carried out through systematic extermination. But amazingly, though helping the Jews was punishable by death, some churches and communities succeeded in rescuing and hiding many victims. Eventually, individuals and families also helped to rescue prisoners who were already condemned to death. For many years, these atrocities by a dreadful lunatic went on unabated, with the international community doing nothing to stop them. The Nazis' victimization of the Jews was unjust and cruel. But why have the Jews been such a target of so much hatred and aggression? Nevertheless, as the saying goes, whatever has a beginning must have an end, and so it was. In May 1945, the end of a despicable Nazi butcher came to pass when Russia on one end and the